The main character was rejected again. How can this be? He successfully passed the interview. But the employer claims that this does not mean anything, and he rejected the guy simply because this position is already filled. The employees of this company mock the main character because he is not rich and is easily intimidated. The guy will never achieve his goals. The hero is upset because he wasted his time on this interview. Tom is angry at the company that didn't accept him and wishes it would go bankrupt as soon as possible. Suddenly, someone pushes the guy and he falls, which makes Tom even more angry. The fair-haired guy who was in the company of a beautiful girl deliberately pushed Tom. It seemed they had known each other before. Tom recognizes the girl next to the guy and calls her by name. Shawn asks Rebecca if Tom is her boyfriend, which really upsets the girl because they are no longer in a relationship. The girl explains that Tom is poor and cannot be her boyfriend, unlike Shawn, who is rich and attractive, and she feels hot next to him. The couple begins to coo, unaware of Tom's presence next to them. The protagonist is humiliated and insulted by the fact that he was used. Finally, Shawn tells Tom that he was the one who took the guy's job. He continues to mock the protagonist, mentioning that he took away not only his job, but also his girlfriend, and Tom can't do anything about it. But the main character does not agree with the guy's statement that he can do nothing. Tom swings and hits Shawn. The main character continues to beat the guy, already being on top of him. Rebecca is scared and doesn't know what to do in such a situation, and her boyfriend, who is being beaten, asks to call someone for help. The girl runs away in fear, claiming that Tom will regret his actions, and she calls security. The protagonist cannot contain his anger and yells at Shawn that he is just a boy with a trust fund, and that someday Tom will also become rich. The guy is sure that he too will have a lot of money, no matter what it costs him. A system window pops up in front of Tom's eyes, asking him if Tom is really willing to do anything to get rich. This proposal was very sudden. The notification from the system stuns the guy. Tom is frightened by the sudden message and asks who it is, but the system requires an answer to the question posed. The system repeats its question, but Tom still does not believe in the reality of what is happening. However, in the end, the guy accepts the system's offer. The system accepts the protagonist's choice by processing the data. Words begin to flash before the main character. Finally, the words come together to form a sentence. Tom learns that a certain Mr. Edgar, who is the second most influential shareholder of the company, announced a wish that he was going to transfer all his shares to a guy named Tom, after which Edgar died. The guy's face was distorted in shock and incomprehension of what was happening. He definitely didn't expect such a statement. The girl returns to the scene of the fight with the guards, pointing at Tom as the attacker who maimed her boyfriend. The security guard gets angry at the guy, calling him a reckless brat who has no right to behave like that. 3 guards surrounded Tom and began to mock him, coming up with all sorts of punishments that could be applied to the guy while Rebecca took care of her boyfriend. Tom justifies himself by claiming that he is one of the company's most influential shareholders. Shawn and Rebecca laugh at the protagonist's ridiculous invention. Shawn claims that if Tom is a shareholder, then he is the CEO. The guards join in the joke on the guy, calling themselves directors and chairmen. Shawn's patience runs out and he orders the staff to teach Tom a lesson for his lying and impudence. One of the guards starts approaching the guy, threatening him with his fists, and Tom thinks that he was wrong to fall for the system's trick, because the only free cheese is in a mousetrap. Suddenly, a loud order is heard, prohibiting any actions towards the main character. The voice really scares the guard who wanted to beat Tom. His hand is intercepted, preventing him from striking Tom. A menacing man in dark glasses and a suit appears behind the guard. It seems he is of a higher rank than the guard. Tom doesn't understand what's going on and why they stood up for him. The menacing man sends the guard flying far into the sky with one blow, causing his assistants to worry and fear. The protagonist is amazed by the strength of his savior, calling him a superhero. 3 more men wearing the same glasses and suits suddenly appear in front of the guy. They greet Tom, bowing as a sign of deep respect for the guy. A man with a thin mustache also appeared, calling himself Tom's lawyer. The man has one more thing to do with the main character, which Edgar, a former shareholder of the company, whose place Tom took, asked him to do. The lawyer hands the guy the share transfer agreement and asks him to read it. Tom certainly didn't expect that the system's proposal would turn out to be true, and that he would become a new major shareholder of such a rich and influential company. Shawn and the girl, and the guards next to them, also did not expect that the guy could not joke and really be influential. The main character, trying to be completely calm, takes the contract and begins to sign it, simultaneously asking how many shares he will receive. The lawyer also calmly reports that Tom will receive no less than 100 million shares. The guy, maintaining a mask of imperturbability, gives the signed contract to the lawyer. However, inside Tom is simply beside himself with joy at such good luck. The dream of becoming rich has finally come true, and he is happy. The protagonist, with a devilish smile, asks who the lucky man was, who wanted to teach him a lesson. The guards who had recently abused Tom froze in horror, fearing future retribution for what they had done. 3 security guards point at Shawn at once, claiming that he was the one who was involved in the abuse of the boy. Shawn didn't expect all the blame to be placed on him, and his girlfriend ran away, not wanting to take any responsibility. Tom orders Shawn to be stripped and hung on the fence, and the guards obediently begin to carry out this order, heading towards the main character's offender. The boy is afraid of what the guards want to do to him. 3 men leaned over Shawn angrily, carrying out their task from the protagonist. The guards quickly attack the guy, beating and stripping him. Shawn falls over in defeat. It looks like he got what he deserved. Tom is happy that his offender was punished and is now lying unconscious. Suddenly there is some noise at the door. The employer, who had previously refused the guy a job, citing the fact that his place had already been taken when he saw Tom again, demands that he immediately leave the building. The formidable men immediately stood up for the guy. They threatened their employer with just one look, not letting their new boss get hurt. The lawyer tells the man that the person he is sending away is one of the largest shareholders in the company. Tom is one of the most influential people, and this kind of behavior from him is simply unacceptable. The man, upon hearing that the main character was the second shareholder of the company, froze in horror, imagining what awaited him for such an attitude towards the guy. Tom believes that he has the right to fire employees and asks his lawyer about it, to which he receives a positive answer. As an example of Tom's capabilities, the lawyer cites an employer whom the protagonist can easily fire. Tom calmly decides to fire the man who treated him so disrespectfully. The employer, having heard about his dismissal, was very scared. The man falls to his knees, begging the protagonist not to fire him. However, Tom is completely unmoved. He orders the man who recently saved him to throw the employer out of the building. One snap of the fingers is enough for the main character's orders to be carried out. The man dispatches the fired employee with one blow, sending him flying into the sky away from Toma. The man lands hard right next to the security guard, who was also launched into the sky. Rebecca, who ran away in fear from possible punishment, sees the main character again. The girl quickly runs up to the guy, hugging his hand, making a sad expression on her face. She claims that she was just possessed and was not responsible for her actions. Rebecca says that Shawn was completely unreliable and not even close to Tom. She asks the hero to start dating her again. Tom was skeptical about the girl's offer, rolling his eyes just to avoid looking at her. Rebecca, pressing his hand to her face, admits that she has always loved Tom. However, the main character is not at all touched by her confession, and he throws the girl away from himself, claiming that he does not like girls of easy virtue. Shawn, seeing his girlfriend's betrayal, shouts at Tom not to be arrogant and that money doesn't decide everything in life. However, the main character does not agree with this statement, saying that money really does decide a lot and gives permissiveness. Tom asks his guard if he brought the money. One of the guards hands the lawyer a suitcase. There was a huge amount of money in the suitcase, the likes of which Tom had never seen before in his life. The lawyer assumed that the guy would need funds for small expenses, so he brought this suitcase, apologizing at the same time that he took only $1 million. Tom grabbed a stack of bills and casually threw them into the air while the men watched in fascination. The guy is not yet done with his revenge on Shawn for his terrible actions. The main character demands that the guy get punched in exchange for money. Money really can buy anything in this world, and the men were already leaning over Shawn, getting ready to beat him up again. Tom, accompanied by men in suits, walks away from the scene of the fight, continuing to throw money down the drain. The guy, walking through the streets of the city, is happy to be rich. Suddenly, the hero receives a notification from the system, which informs that the initial one is completed, and the spending system is activated. Everything is floating around Tom, and he finds himself in a completely incomprehensible place where there is nothing. A system window pops up in front of him, showing a photo of the guy, with various characteristics written next to it. Tom is delighted with the new system, and she asks him to give it a name. Tom enters a name for the system, Pixie. The system gives a new task to the main character, which is that the guy needs to spend all his money in exchange for points and bonuses from the system. The punishment that follows for failing to complete the task greatly frightens Tom. A countdown appears above the guy's head, giving him time to complete the task, leaving Tom with no choice but to be a real spendthrift. The message from the system ends, and the hero returns to reality. He meets his lawyer and looks at him suspiciously. Tom offers the man to work for him, claiming that he is a good guy. But the lawyer claims that he has a good-paying job in the company, to which Tom simply asks for the man's bank account. The lawyer is embarrassed, saying that the protagonist misunderstood him, but the guy doesn't even listen to him. Tom quickly types something on his phone, not paying attention to the man next to him. The lawyer received a notification on his phone. When the man looked at him, he was stunned. His eyes almost fell out of their sockets. Tom transferred 1 million to the man's account, knowing that this would definitely influence his future decision. The lawyer could not believe that he had received such a huge transfer of funds. Such a large amount of money bribed the man. Now he is ready to do anything for the main character. The man's first task was to sign the share transfer agreement. The lawyer immediately rushed to carry out his task, hitting girls on his way with his enormous speed. Next on the guy's list of dreams was buying a car. Tom is already standing in front of the car dealership, anticipating his soon-to-be long-awaited purchase. Beautiful and expensive cars greet the main character. Upon entering the door, the guy was instantly surrounded by beautiful workers who claimed that they were the best in their field and that Tom should choose them. The guy found the girls very friendly and tries to say something back to them. The workers suddenly noticed how cheaply Tom arrived, and their expressions changed noticeably from submissive helpfulness and friendliness to disgust. The girls immediately lost interest in the guy, because he was unlikely to make a big profit for the company and leave them a solid tip. Tom is angry that the attitude of the female employees towards him has changed dramatically and thinks to himself that they will regret it. One beautiful girl did not judge the guy by his appearance and came up to him and asked what kind of car the main character was going to buy. Tom demands to see the most expensive car they have. The girl asks him to go to the car, while her colleagues laugh at the guy and his attempt to appear rich. The employee shows him a new white Rolls-Royce model that screams old and expensive. The price of the car was $6.5 million. Tom was very impressed by this model. He looks at it from all sides. He is very happy, just like me, when you, dear viewer, subscribe to my channel and leave a comment with a like. This is very important to me. Have a nice day. The car fully meets the criteria of his choice, and we'll speak about the status of the owner. The guy wanted to get into the car to finally make a decision about buying it, but a stern voice abruptly stopped Tom from this idea. A menacing girl demands that the guy not touch the car, otherwise he won't be able to pay her off. Tom is outraged that his co-worker dares to look down on him and judge him by his appearance. The girl yells at her colleague who wanted to help the main character and asks her not to bring such clients anymore. The customers brought by the strict girl began to mock Tom, emphasizing his poverty. The employee rudely chases Tom away from the car, not letting him say a word. She shows her new clients the latest Rolls-Royce model that the main character liked, hoping that her clients will buy this car. The girl who came with her rich boyfriend was delighted with the car. She begs him to buy her a car. The man is captivated by her huge bust, from which he cannot take his eyes off. He decides to buy this car and asks its price. The employee announces the price of $6.5 million, which leaves the man dumbfounded. He didn't expect to hear such a high price. His companion looks at the man pleadingly, and he has to calm down. He is sure that the girl does not deserve such an expensive gift. The co-worker and the girl beg the man to buy this expensive car. However, it is suitable for a cheaper Chinese car, which is significantly inferior in all parameters to the Rolls-Royce. And this is the kind of car that suits the girl. The girls are outraged by the man's actions, because they hoped that he would buy that expensive car. Tom intervenes in their argument by pushing them apart. The hero takes out a gold card and is going to buy the latest Rolls-Royce model. The man with his lady and the woman who served them did not expect that the guy could not even come close to affording something like that. The girl who served Tom says that the purchase amount is $6.5 million, and it is an honor for her to serve a client like Tom. The guy asks her to round the amount up to $7 million. Tom leaves the remaining $800,000 as a tip for the girl. The girl, holding the main character's card in her hands, does not believe her happiness. It seems like a dream. The man, who could not afford such a purchase, began to mock the guy, calling him arrogant. The employee supported him in his statements. The girl thought that the guy's card didn't even have 1,000, but the payment was successful. The man and the employee were in shock. They did not believe that what was happening was real, and that such a poor guy like Tom could afford the most expensive car. The main character, feeling the pleasure of a large amount of money, asks the consultant to provide him with the most expensive models from each brand of cars. Looking at the beautiful new cars, Tom takes each one, enjoying his purchases. A guy praises the girl who serves him for her work ethic and offers her to choose any car she likes, which he pays for. A couple of customers and their consultant are shocked by Tom's proposal to the girl. However, the girl refused to buy a new car because it was extremely inappropriate in her situation. But the main character tells her that luck is for kind-hearted people and she deserves this gift like no one else. The man, who had been standing aside all this time, amazed at the guy's wealth, decides to leave, dragging the girl with him, who didn't really want to go. The gentleman's behavior enraged the girl, and she hits him, claiming that a man should not pretend to be tough when in fact he is a poor man. The girl, seeing the wealth of the main character, begins to pester him, saying that tonight she will be his. However, Tom rejects her offer and kicks her aside. The worker, seeing how her clients were dealt with so easily, began to fear for the consequences of her actions. The girl wanted to leave before the retribution befell her, but the guy stops her, claiming that his specialty is to hold a grudge for a long time. Tom asks his assistant to bring the manager while the girl awaits her fate in fear. The manager quickly appears in front of Tom, asking him what happened and how he can help. The main character demands that the man fire this impudent girl who refused to serve him, to which she replies that she has connections, and the guy will not be able to fire her. The manager thinks that he is not doing it very well, but Tom does not want to back down, and if the man does not fulfill his request, he will buy out the entire store and fire him as well. The workers are shocked by the main character's statement, because in order to buy up the entire store, the guy would need several $billion, and such a waste of money is simply pointless. But Tom's main task is to spend money, and these girls don't understand anything. The manager stands aside, not knowing how to answer the guy so as not to bring problems on himself and the company. The girl who served the main character reports that he is the second most influential shareholder of the company. Having learned this information about the guy, the manager immediately makes the decision to fire the girl who dared to treat the client like that, to which she looks at him with fear. A man chases away an employee who claims he has no right to fire her. The manager kicks the girl mercilessly for her actions. After falling, the employee ends up next to a previous client. The man looks with disdain at the former employee and customer. He condemns their behavior, then returns his gaze to the protagonist, admiring him and his wealth. The manager asks if Tom needs any more help, bowing low to him as a sign of respect. The main character still has 70 million left, and he is thinking about how and where else to spend them. Tom takes only the Rolls-Royce with him, claiming that he will pick up the other cars later, and the manager and the girl thank him for the purchase and wait for him again. The car turned out to be really good and fully justified all the money spent on it. Tom was annoyed that he still had to spend such a huge amount of money in such a short time. Passers-by, seeing the expensive car, were very surprised and stared, but Tom thought only about the punishment that awaited him for failing to complete the task. The guy decides to call his friends to help him complete the task. He suggests going to the most expensive hotel and having a blast there. But his friends thought that Tom was crazy, because he had always been poor, and such a proposal was unusual for a guy. A car drives past a beautiful girl at full speed, the wind brushing her short dress. The heroes are greeted by a luxurious, tall building, decorated with golden ornaments, screaming about the wealth of its visitors. Inside there are fountains, high ceilings with golden chandeliers. The main character has never seen such wealth before. The guy looks for his friends, and not finding them, he comes to the conclusion that they haven't arrived yet. Suddenly Tom hears the screams of his friends from the exit. An arrogant rich man asks Tom's friend Rick to pay him $10,000 for stepping on his expensive designer shoes, for which he pays $100,000. The man angrily pushes the guy, still demanding money from him. But before Rick could fall, Tom caught him, asking if everything was okay. The guy was about to tell what happened between him and that man, but the main character interrupts him, claiming that he will sort everything out. Tom throws him $10,000 for expensive shoes, saying that it's small change. Harry, one of Tom's friends, says that the guy is crazy, this man was just blackmailing. But the main character doesn't care about this, because he needs to spend a lot of money. However, the man is still not satisfied with this situation, which irritates him. He calls the manager to kick the guys out of such an elite establishment as this. The administrator, not wanting to get into more trouble, is going to take Tom and his friends away from the man. But the main character is not going to go anywhere, since he has not yet taken revenge for the man pushing his friend. Tom angrily pushes the administrator away from him, not wanting to listen to anything. The protagonist states that if one step on a man's shoe costs $10,000, then he is ready to pay Rick $200,000 to trample the man. Rick is only too happy to take revenge on the rich and arrogant man, and smiles evilly at him until he realizes what is happening. The guy starts to step on his rich shoes, not sparing his strength for this action. Ultimately, all that remains of a man's rich designer shoes is just a semblance of a shoe. The man's leg hurts terribly from the many blows to it. Tom throws him a wad of money, stating that it is for the treatment of his leg. Before leaving, the protagonist tells the man to never blackmail his friends again. However, the man is not satisfied with this state of affairs. He has been humiliated and trampled, and he stops the heroes, asking if they know who he is. Tom, hearing such a ridiculous question, mockingly asks if the shoe seller is a man. This statement offended the man even more, because he is the owner of jewelry and can easily strangle guys with his money. After the man introduced himself, rumors about his family and wealth immediately began to circulate in the room. Some even claimed that the toilet in his home was made of pure gold. It seems the man decided to compete with the main character to see who is more wasteful, not seeing him as a real rival. Pointing his finger at the nearest employee, the guy wants to ask him for something. Tom demands to bring him the most expensive wine they have to gargle his throat after such an unpleasant squabble. Two beautiful girls in attractive uniform dresses are already bringing the main character his order. But the man is not ready to give up and asks the employee to bring all the supplies of good expensive wine to surpass the guy. One of the employees of this expensive establishment pours the most expensive wine they have into a basin at the man's feet. The man smirks, claiming that a poor guy like Tom will never understand the entertainment of the rich. The main character asks the staff for expensive Kobe beef and black caviar to feed his dog. The man, not wanting to lose their fight, finds a red coral, asking for its price, which was 300,000 due to the rarity of the coral. Having broken the coral, the man claims that they will pay all 400,000, while the employee looks on in surprise. Tom also finds a rare thing jade, which is worth $500,000. The protagonist knocks over a turquoise jade stone on the floor, claiming that he will pay 600,000, while the staff watches as two young men smash the hotel's most expensive items. Tom and the man are angry with each other and decide to continue their competition of senseless money spending. They smash the hotel's most expensive items one after another, while Tom's friends can only watch the two from the sidelines. Rick and Harry cannot understand the strange behavior of their friend and refer to drugs. However, at some point, Tom and the man were stopped by something from their strange action, and they had to be distracted by the noise behind them. There was an elderly man lying behind him asking for help, but he was just a liar. And if anyone tried to help him, the man would report to the police that he had been pushed and would try to get compensation for the damages. The man understands that the old man is trying to cheat him out of a very large sum of money and immediately runs to him to help. He heroically grabs the old man in his arms and grins triumphantly at everyone present. People around are shocked by the man's actions and come to the conclusion that he really is rich. The man points his finger at Tom, claiming that he helps liars like this old man 10 times a day, but the protagonist only grins evilly at this statement. This was clearly all a setup by the guy, and he smiles creepily, stating that the man is very naive. The main character took out his phone until the man realized what was going on. With the same terrifying expression on his face, the guy says that with one call he can make the man's company go bankrupt. Suddenly, a stupid ringtone starts playing on the man's phone. He quickly answers the phone, not expecting a catch. A subordinate shouts over the phone to his boss that their company's shares have fallen sharply. The man can't believe that what he heard could be true, and the subordinate assumes that the boss offended some big shot, and therefore he should quickly apologize so that the stock doesn't fall completely. The man's realization came instantly after the beeps sounded, indicating the end of the conversation, and he stood in a stupor for a moment. Suddenly the man realized that the big shot he had offended was Tom, who was now looking angrily at the man, feeling his victory. The hotel employee sharply points his finger at the man, calling his colleagues to follow him. The staff is angry with the man, claiming that his bank card is blocked and the things he broke total 10 million. The old man, whom the man wanted to help, is also very angry with him. I claim that he wanted to cheat him out of money and at the same time pulls down his pants. The man suddenly runs away without pants and colorful underwear, saying that he will get money from the company. However, before the man could escape, he was stopped by hotel staff, blocking his path and claiming that it was a bad idea to run away after he had broken so many expensive items in their prestigious establishment. The man is surrounded by people, and he is terrified of what they might do to him. The entire crowd suddenly attacks the man, beating him and demanding their money. Not a single living spot was left on the man. Tom leaned over him triumphantly, asking if the man wanted to compete with him again. The man, realizing that his entire career and fortune are in the hands of the protagonist, begs him to spare him, while simultaneously saying that Tom is the richest and the man was wrong to compete with him. Tom smirks, declaring that he will spare the man, but in return, he will have to pay 10 million because his friends demanded 10,000. But such a statement greatly frightens the man, because his bank card is blocked. The main character is not happy with this state of affairs and demands that the man write him a check, and he immediately agrees. The man modestly hands him a check for 10 million. The main character triumphantly takes the piece of paper in his hands, happy with such a sum of money. The man fulfilled the boy's request and now hopes that he will spare him. Tom calls somewhere, saying that they can stop manipulating the man's stock. The man quickly gets a call back from his employee, congratulating him that their stocks are stable again. He thanks Tom for pardoning him, to which the guy only tells him to get out of here. The man, fearing that he might once again incur the protagonist's wrath, takes his words literally and begins to roll. Tom, pointing his finger at the man, tells his friend to look at this pathetic sight. Rick admires his friend's heroism and courage. He tries to hug Tom for saving him, but the main character is embarrassed that his second friend is silent. Harry grinned angrily at Tom without saying a word. However, suddenly his facial expression changed, and a bouquet of roses appeared in his hands. Harry hands the flowers to Tom, claiming that he is ready to become gay for him. The main character was stunned by such a harsh statement from his friend, after which the boy hugged his friends, telling Harry not to think about such things anymore. A group of musicians played in the hotel, whose music delighted the hero's ears. The boys were having fun drinking expensive wine. They tried the most luxurious dishes that they could not afford before. Tom was dancing with a beautiful girl with snow-white hair, and Rick was hugging a blonde in a pink dress from behind while dancing. Their fun continued in the bathhouse, where the hero enjoyed the warm steam in his robe. The main character falls onto the bed with relief, summing up the day. Today he spent 20 million and still has 50 left. Tom enjoys his new life and new challenges that he could never have dreamed of before. Suddenly a system appeared before his eyes, which said that the guy was really very naive. Tom mistook the system for a ghost and was very scared, but it said that it was not a ghost, but a pixie. The protagonist began to scold the system for deciding to scare him by pretending to be a ghost, but Pixie claims that she doesn't have time for such pranks, and she came to notify Tom. Pixie says that the guy owes her 40 points and every day his debt increases by 1 point. The hero better pay off his debt quickly. Tom is annoyed, not understanding when he managed to borrow from the system. But the system started listing what it gave him, and all his past shenanigans also cost points. All this puts a lot of pressure on the guy. The guy was angry, not understanding anything the system told him. But suddenly the emotion on his face changed dramatically. The protagonist asked the system what the point of these glasses was and how he could use them. Pixie looks at the guy with disdain, thinking that the guy really doesn't know anything. The system explains that points are worth much more in the system, and a guy with a lot of points will achieve more than just money. Tom became enthusiastic, asking how else he could get points other than completing the task, to which the system responded that by spending 100,000, the guy gets 1 point. The guy's eyes lit up even more when he heard this information, because he had spent a lot of money profitably and should have received points. However, the system instantly destroys the main character's dreams, answering that the guy gets points only for the money he earns. Tom suddenly realized that he had not scored a single point today, and this left him very upset and disappointed. Pixie moves away from the guy, telling him to return the debt as soon as possible. However, the guy stops the system to ask a question of interest. The protagonist seriously asks what will happen to him if he does not pay her the debt. The system slowly turns to the guy, saying that it is a secret. After this, the system disappeared, leaving the hero alone in a luxurious hotel room. Passers-by, seeing Tom surrounded by security, admire him and guess who the guy could be. Not paying attention to the people around him, the main character moves forward. The guy is angry at the system because it made him stay up all night thinking about what was said. Tom doesn't even know when the system's payment deadline is, and is thinking of a plan on how to earn points. The guy gives orders to his guards to collect the cars he bought. Pointing at another security guard, Tom orders him to follow him into the advertising agency. The guy is determined to complete his task in order to earn points and pay off his debt. This time the hero promises himself to make a big scene while walking to his expensive car. The guy's car parks right next to the university. Students, seeing such a large number of expensive cars near the educational institution, cannot contain their delight and surprise. They want to know if this rich guy really came to their university. The guards rolled out a red carpet in front of the main character's car door. Tom, wearing an expensive suit, gets out of the car and walks along the red carpet to the university. The guards bowed low in deep respect as they greeted the protagonist. The young people recognize this rich guy as Tom, surprised by his new status. Tom greets his classmates, who are trying to get the guy's attention and get closer to him by any means necessary. The main character was already awaited by a golden throne, to which the guards invited him. Tom sat triumphantly on the throne, while girls bowed at his feet, eager to get the guy and become just as rich. However, the main character does not need such attention from the girls, and he hints to his guards to remove them. The men immediately understood what they had to do, and took the girls away from the hero until they wanted to leave the guy. Tom came to the university today to report something, and is already ready to make an announcement. The students began to guess why the main character had come that day. Maybe he had bought the university, or wanted to make a donation. The guy nods to the guard, indicating that he can begin. The man gives the order to the entire unit to begin. However, nothing happens, and the students look at him silently. Suddenly there is a roar that the young people did not expect to hear. One of the guys points to the sky where helicopters with red advertising banners were flying. More helicopters with the same inscriptions appear in the sky. The banner features Tom himself on his golden throne. The main character spent a lot of money on cool advertising to find himself a maid who would be well paid. People immediately started whispering when they heard that the guy was ready to pay well. If Tom spent so much money to find a maid, then she would definitely end up in high society. The guy took out a cigarette and lit it along with the money, after which he exhaled gray smoke and threw the burning money away. Tom stated that he needed only one maid, who had to be in constant contact with him and be the most beautiful girl. The girls, having heard this information, began to act unapproachable, saying that such conditions were not for them, and they thought that the guy was simply looking for a mistress. However, noticing that after their statements, the guy did not pay attention to them, the girls decided to stop this stupid circus. Having taken up explicit and erotic poses, the girls began to tell the main character about their merits. But Tom is not interested in the bodies of the young ladies, and indifferently says that he will definitely interrogate each of them a little later. The first candidate was a girl in a short pink skirt and a top that emphasized her ample bust. The guys in the crowd, seeing the girl, began to admire her beauty and grace. But the girl was also known for her dissolute behavior. After fixing her hair, the girl seductively told the guy that she wanted to work for him, blowing him a kiss. However, the guy immediately rejected her candidacy, stating that the girl was not qualified enough. The lady does not understand why she could be rejected, because she has a beautiful face and a curvy figure. But Tom coldly stated that he didn't like girls who flirted. People immediately began to whisper about the girl's dissolute behavior, saying that they would not have chosen her as a candidate either. The girl runs away, not hiding her shame while the guy calmly watches her go. The protagonist continued to look through the next candidates. The next girl could breathe fire, but Tom was not impressed, and he sent her to save the world with Captain America. The elderly woman claimed that she knew how to collect and sort garbage, but this also did not meet Tom's requirements. Suddenly, someone's hand threw the candidates aside, saying that they hurt the eye. A scary man dressed up in a pink dress and a wig, declaring that he was the most handsome here, and the guy should choose him. But Tom didn't like this ridiculous joke, and he threw the refusal sign right in the man's face. The main character has already lost hope of finding a normal candidate for this position. However, suddenly a pink-haired girl appears before his eyes, who immediately interested the guy. She timidly asked if the guy was still hiring. Tom looked at the beautiful girl in front of him, mesmerized. But the girl was so timid and modest that she couldn't bring herself to look at the guy. One of the students notices Jessica, because she is the most beautiful in the university. It seems the girl also decided to take such a job for the sake of big money. Tom is crazy about Jessica's beauty and modesty. He fell in love with her, and was ready to hire her in that very second. The girl introduces herself and asks if she can try out for this job. But the main character interrupts the girl, saying that he is ready to hire her without an interview. The girl timidly asks how much she will earn working for Tom. Her classmates are upset that the girl decided to do this for the money, and that such a rich man took her. The question of salary made the main character think, considering that the girl was still on probation. Tom offers the girl a salary of $200,000, plus she will have 3 meals a day and housing, and the guy will give her a BMW. This offer amazed the girl and those around her. They did not expect that the guy would pay so much. Seeing the confusion on the faces of his interlocutors, Tom thought that he had offered too little. Those around him, having heard such a lucrative offer, pounced on the guy, claiming that they could be anyone for him for that kind of money. The main character, seeing such a crowd that is ready to tear him apart for money, grabs Jessica by the hand. The guy heroically takes the girl out of the crowd, holding her hand. They quickly climb into the car to hide from public view. The people, noticing the disappearance of the girl and Tom, try to catch up with the guy's car, hoping to do something else. The guy breathed a sigh of relief when they found themselves in the car, leaving behind the annoying people. Tom starts a conversation with Jessica, saying that those people were too carried away. The girl blushed deeply and wanted to say that the guy's hand was still on her hand. The protagonist suddenly noticed that he was still holding Julia's hand. Tom was very embarrassed and began to apologize to the girl, saying that he did it unintentionally. The boss noticed how warm and soft her hands were. In his head, he began to imagine how a girl in beautiful lingerie was warming the place next to him. Jessica noticed how the guy was lost in his dreams. She smiled warmly as she looked at him. Jessica concluded that Tom didn't seem like a bad person. When the main character put on a show to find himself a maid, Jessica thought he was a pervert. But it seems she was wrong. Tom even offered such a large salary to the girl that she had hope of paying for her father's treatment. Suddenly the guy screamed. It seemed like he remembered something. Tom suddenly realized that he had forgotten to buy the villa for which he had hired the maid. Jessica came to the conclusion that the guy was not a pervert, but just an idiot. Tom and the girl found themselves in front of a tall glass building that was engaged in sales. The protagonist gave orders to the guards that they all remain in place, except for one, who will go with them. Jessica and Tom enter the glass building. The couple is met by a girl from the information desk, who asks if they are planning to buy a villa for the wedding. This question confused Jessica a lot, but the guy quickly explained that they were not getting married. He just decided to buy himself a villa. However, in his mind, Tom thinks that if Jessica were his wife, it would be wonderful. The girl shows the main character different areas with luxurious houses. Prices for villas never fell below 20 million. Jessica thought these prices were very high, and she was only surprised to see the guy next to her. However, Tom was not at all embarrassed by the prices. He came to the conclusion that the more expensive, the better. The guy is ready to buy the villa he likes, but someone interrupts him. His purchase is interrupted by a young and impudent guy with his girlfriend, who asks his companion if she liked the villa. The girl really liked the villa, but she claims that she would have liked any gift from the guy. But Tom interrupts the couple's conversation, saying that he saw the villa first. The guy casually throws a card with $500,000 at Tom, asking him to get out of here quickly. Jessica worries about the main character and suggests that he choose another house. The guy notices a beautiful girl next to Tom. He immediately liked her. The guy examines Jessica from different angles, offering to become his woman, while promising to provide her with everything. His girlfriend laughs, calling Ron a playboy, to which he replies that girls like bad boys. At which point Tom realizes that he needs to know more about his potential adversary. The information about the guy is worth 10 points, and the system tells us that Ron is the only son of a major shareholder. However, Tom doesn't care whose son this guy is, because he took his villa and humiliated Jessica. Ron hands the consultant his card, stating that he is going to buy this house. The main character summons his guard, Edward, with a snap of his fingers. The dark-skinned man immediately comes to Tom's aid, pushing Ron far back. Edward clutched the boy's card that had fallen out when he flew away. The man easily squeezed Ron's plastic card, until he realized who pushed him and what Edward was going to do. The man crumbled Ron's map, throwing away the remains. The guy's face distorted in shock and confusion. Tom asks if Ron really wanted to buy his villa for only 26 million, claiming that this will never happen. The main character declares that he is ready to buy this villa for 30 million. Ron took Tom's statement as a challenge and was ready to compete with him for money. The main character does not intend to simply forgive the guy for daring to insult his maid. Ron is angry with Tom and says he is ready to pay 50 million for the villa. The girls didn't expect such a statement from Ron, to which he says that it's just some measly 50 million. Tom doesn't want to give in to the guy and claims that he will pay 90 million. This statement further stuns the girls, while the guys continue to argue behind them. Tom tells the guy not to even try to argue with him and demands that he apologize to Jessica. Realizing that Ron is not yet ready to raise such a sum, Tom begins to mock the guy. Ron can't stand the main character's attacks and shouts that he will pay 100 million. The consultant falls over at such a price, imagining what kind of commission she will receive. Ron begins to tease the protagonist, forcing him to raise the bet. However, Tom is bored with this competition and refuses to buy this villa for an amount that is several times higher than the original one. Ron didn't expect the guy to give in so easily and froze in bewilderment. Tom says he is not going to pay 5 times more for the villa, because such a purchase would make him look like a fool. Ron's girlfriend complains that the guy, succumbing to emotions, commits such stupid and thoughtless acts as buying a villa. The girl cannot forgive the guy for his stupidity, calling him a fool and deciding to end the relationship. These words break Ron's heart. He was cheated out of money, and his girlfriend left him. The guy holds a grudge against Tom while he leaves with Jessica to look at other villas. Tom, pointing to a beautiful villa, asks the consultant how much it costs. The villa was located on the seashore and was very spacious and beautiful. Its price was 27 million. The protagonist says he will pay 30 million while the girl makes the payment, and Ron watches the guy's actions. He abruptly interrupts Tom's conversation and declares that he is ready to pay 50 million to disrupt the hero's deal. Tom is irritated by Ron's presence and the fact that he intrudes into his personal affairs. The guy pompously declares that the villa will go to the one with the highest price, but Tom doesn't really react to his opponent's statement. The main character reacts to Ron's statement with complete indifference. Tom's feigned calmness makes Roma nervous. He has to come up with something to take revenge on the guy for his humiliation. Unable to come up with anything better, the guy insults Tom in order to somehow motivate the guy to take decisive action. But Tom does not react to the insults directed at him, and with a smile on his face says that he is ready to give the house to Ron if he liked it so much. The insults and humiliations were meaningless, and the guy was left with nothing but a loss. The consultant thanks Ron for the purchase, saying that the total amount is 150 million. The guy was clearly not ready to pay for such an expensive and pointless purchase. Ron blames Tom for his problems, saying that he doesn't understand where he can get such a large sum of money from now. But the protagonist replies that it's not his problem. The consultant asks Ron threateningly if he can pay for everything. The girl accuses the guy that it was he who raised the prices of the villas, and now he doesn't want to pay. She calls security, saying that Ron is causing trouble in the store. 3 huge and strong men towered in front of Ron and began to threaten him. The men start beating the guy, telling him not to pretend to be rich when he is not. Ron also ends up defeated and humiliated, just like Shawn. The protagonist once again defeats the villain. Ron got what he deserved and Tom is happy with this outcome. The guy decides to buy a villa for 30 million. The protagonist asks the system if he has made any progress in completing the task. A data board is shown in front of Tom, indicating that the guy has spent 20 million and has 2 hours left. Looking at Jessica, who was standing modestly to the side, Tom immediately gets an idea of where to spend the money. The heroes find themselves in a luxurious boutique, where the girl tries on the most beautiful dresses from designers. Jessica is wearing a purple sleeveless dress with a shiny skirt that highlights her figure. The main character is crazy about the girl's beauty, and says that they buy all the dresses that the girl tried on. However, Jessica says that there is no need to buy all the dresses, to which Tom asks if she didn't like them. The girl admits that all these dresses and jewelry are too expensive for her, but Tom lifts her head up to his chin, tenderly calling the girl silly. The guy says that only these clothes will suit his maid. The girl looks at the main one with love. Tom returns her gaze, looking at her tenderly as well. Their lips move closer to each other, hoping for a kiss. Suddenly, the romantic atmosphere of the heroes is interrupted by the system, which congratulates the guy on reaching the 2nd level and completing the task, as a reward for which he receives 250 points. Tom complains that this is all at the wrong time, but the system doesn't notice his indignation and suggests looking at new updates. A shop appears in front of the hero, where you can buy elixirs that increase strength, luck, or all abilities at once, but their price is also not small. Tom is fired up with the enthusiasm to work even harder and better so that he can afford to improve his stats with elixirs. The guy is confident in himself, stating that the system is under his control, and achieving success will not be difficult. Suddenly, the guy's dreams of a good future are interrupted by men in military uniform. They surrounded the main character, not giving him a chance to escape, pointing their weapons at him. The guy clearly didn't expect that things would turn out exactly like this. Tom doesn't understand what's going on and why they're surrounding him as if he were some kind of criminal. The captain of the group approaches the main character and states that the guy is suspected of robbing a bank. Tom didn't think he could be accused of such actions. He falls into the rivers of shock as the girl next to him assumes that perhaps there was some mistake, but the captain replies that someone reported the guy and there can be no mistake. The men order their subordinates to arrest Tom until he understands what is happening and how to fix the situation. The hero is greeted by an interrogation room. Captain Kick states that a bank was recently robbed for 100 million, and an unknown person reported that the main character suddenly received a huge amount of money from unknown sources. Tom tries to understand how he can justify himself, and who could have reported him. Kick's assistant interrupts the protagonist's thoughts, demanding that he quickly answer the questions posed. Kick tells his assistant that violence is unacceptable in this matter, and that he had better not use such methods in the future. The guy asks again if maybe the captain just made a mistake. Tom justifies himself by saying that he is just a poor student, and he cannot have such a huge amount of money. If the captain does not believe him, he can check his bank account, which does not have a penny. However, the man suddenly grabs the guy by the hand. Kick asks Tom again if he really is a poor student, after which, exposing the main character's hand, the captain points to the expensive watch on the guy's wrist, which an ordinary student clearly cannot afford. Tom completely forgot about the expensive watch he recently bought at the mall. He made a mistake, and his excuse makes absolutely no sense. The guy doesn't have a single chance to deceive the man in front of him, because he is clearly not stupid and well prepared. While Tom is thinking, Kick again demands answers to his questions. Realizing that he has no choice, the protagonist decides to confess and tell the whole truth to Kiku. Tom admits that it's all a money-burning system. The guy explains that this system gave him such a huge amount of money and forces him to spend every last penny. Otherwise, the guy will face serious punishment. Tom seriously states that he has nothing to do with the bank robbery. Kick and his assistant did not expect such a frank confession from the guy. They start yelling at the protagonist, saying that they are not idiots to believe such nonsense. Kick demands to tell the truth, otherwise the guy will not leave them today. But Tom says that he did not lie. Suddenly, someone opens the door with a loud bang. The heroes, interrupting the interrogation, turn towards the noise, wanting to know the reasons for its occurrence. Tom's lawyer bursts into the office, apologizing for not coming earlier and claiming that he is always ready to come to the aid of his boss. However, a policeman appears behind the lawyer and asks the man not to act tough because he exceeded the speed limit and now he will be fined. The lawyer quickly tidies himself up, giving his image a neat, strict look. The man stands up for the main character, stating that now the guy has nothing to worry about. Tom confidently states that despite the fact that he could have settled the matter himself, he will let his lawyer handle it. Although in fact the guy is very happy that the man came to his aid. The lawyer demands that Captain Kick present evidence to keep the protagonist. The captain calmly explains that they received tips about a bank robbery, and Tom is a suspect because 100 million was transferred to his account. The lawyer says that this is all nonsense. Tom is the largest shareholder of the company and 100 million is small change for him. The man began to swear that because of Kick and his assistant, the main character's reputation could be ruined, and they were obliged to take responsibility for their actions. The lawyer says he wants to call the media here to clarify the situation. Captain Kick and his assistant began to worry about the problems that had arisen and assumed that a mistake might have occurred. After 10 minutes, the heroes were released and they remained standing near the police station. Tom thanks George's lawyer for saving him, to which he replies that it's his job. Tom is called out by Jessica, who was already waiting for the guy. She hugs the guy, happy about his return. The girl said that she was very worried about the main character, and Captain Kick did not let her into the station. The guy was very embarrassed by her confession. Tom is happy that Jessica cares about him, and that she was worried about him. For this, the hero is ready to go to prison again. Jessica breathes a sigh of relief, making sure that the guy is okay. Suddenly, the girl realized that she was still hugging the main character, which shocked him. She gets embarrassed and moves away from the guy so as not to disturb him. She doesn't know what to say to Tom for the last time and goes to the toilet. The girl accidentally gets confused and goes to the police station instead of the restroom, while the main character watches this with a smile. George tells Tom that there will be a shareholders meeting the day after tomorrow, which Tom needs to attend. Tom did not hear or did not fully understand what the man was talking about and asks again about the meeting. The lawyer explains that Tom inherited Mr. Edgar's shares and someone is very worried about this. And besides, Dan used all the tricks to buy up all the shares, and now he has 4%. The hero realizes that Dan is Ron's father, and comes to the conclusion that they are both freaks. A system appears next to Tom, stunning him, and informs him that the mission has been activated. A window appears in front of Tom with a new task, the deadline for which is the end of the shareholders' meeting. For completing it, the guy will receive 2 points, and for not completing it, he will lose 5. Failure to complete the task also results in punishment, which puts stress on the protagonist. Tom doesn't understand how he can take control of Dan's shares in such a short time, especially considering that he doesn't have enough money to do it. Tom decides that the penalty for failure is not worth the risk and hits the reject button. Jessica appears behind the guy and asks what the main character is worried about. The girl is worried about the guy's emotional state, but he calms her down, saying that these are all minor things, and the girl has no need to worry. Tom remembers that they are returning to the villa tonight, warning the girl about it. Jessica is embarrassed to realize that it will be just the two of them. The main character does not understand the girl's confusion, and asks what the problem is, to which the girl denies it. Tom's new villa looks luxurious and is worth every penny spent on it. The heroes are left alone in the living room in complete silence, not knowing what to say. They are both very embarrassed by each other's presence. Tom is alone with a girl for the first time, and is very nervous. The protagonist comes to the conclusion that if things continue like this, it will just be a night of watching cartoons. The guy thinks seriously, trying to figure out what to say. He turns to the girl, saying that it is time for her to start doing her job. Jessica was very scared, because she didn't know that it was working hours, and asked Tom not to fire her. But the guy didn't mean that at all. The girl has no idea what a maid should do, because she has no experience, and she asks the protagonist about it, to which he replies that he thinks that the girl should first put on a maid costume. Jessica quickly runs into the room to complete the guy's first task. The girl sits alone in the room, changing clothes. As Jessica pulls on her stockings, she comes to the conclusion that being a maid is very strange. Suddenly, the girl realizes that she should have been prepared for this very thing when she got the job. The girl cautiously appears in the doorway, and Tom meets her gaze. Standing in a red tight dress and a white apron, she asks the protagonist if this is how she should look. Tom is crazy about the girl's beauty. His heart is ready to jump out of his chest at any moment. Jessica gently asks the guy if he is happy, to which he receives a positive answer. The girl tries to ask something, but embarrassment prevents her from doing so. Gathering her courage, Jessica asks what she should do. Tom is very confused by the girl's question and her innocence. The main character wants to hear gratitude for the unpacked maid's costume. At this time, Ron, all beaten up in a wheelchair, comes to his father, demanding that he stand up for him. The boy says that Tom deceived him and his father must avenge him. Putting down a photograph of the main character, the man declares that this is outrageous. Dan declares that this time he will not be so gentle with the guy, because he humiliated the honor of his family. The man takes out his anger on his son, asking if Ron is so incompetent that he could be tricked, to which the boy states that he inherited his intelligence from him. Dan hits the crippled Ron, declaring that he doesn't need such a stupid son. The man orders his assistant to find out all the information about the main character. With a cold expression on his face, Dan states that during the shareholders' meeting, he wants the guy to suffer. At the villa, Tom had already chosen Jessica's first assignment as a maid. He asks the girl to do her job a little more gently and quickly. Tom feels bliss and happiness from a job well done by Jessica. The girl continues to massage the protagonist's feet while he praises her ability. The guy is happy to have such a beautiful and skilled maid at his place. Suddenly, the guy's gaze falls just below Jessica's face. He glanced briefly at the girl's curvaceous figure, which was emphasized by the beautiful open neckline of her dress. The guy's insides trembled with emotion. Tom decides to pick up a book to read to distract himself from his obsessive thoughts. The guy accidentally picked up a book on meditation, which contained phrases that made him even more tense. Tom thought that if Jessica knew about his thoughts and condition, she would consider him a pervert. The guy is saved by a phone call. The main character received a call from Rick, who arrived just in time. Rick asks Tom for help because Harry scratched his Ferrari with a scooter. Obviously, it's not the guy's fault. But the owner of the rich car wants them to pay him $1 million. Tom immediately rushes to help his friends, leaving Jessica alone. Rick does not lose hope of proving to the rich kid that they are not guilty, because it was he who hurt them. And now he demands that they pay. However, the man is not bothered by the guy's words. They scratched his car, and he demands compensation for the damage. Otherwise, he will break their legs. Rick begins to threaten that when Tom arrives, the man will regret his words and actions. But it seems that the guy's words still do not touch him. Suddenly, an expensive car drives past the man's nose at high speed. The main character comes out of it in a beautiful white suit and asks who dared to threaten him and his friends. The man hits the car with his hand, telling the guy to stop talking nonsense. He says that if they don't give him $1 million, they can't even dream of leaving here. Rick angrily declares that such money is only in a bank, and if the man is so eager to get it, then he needs to rob a bank. The man is also overwhelmed with emotion and stamps his foot, attracting the guy's attention. He bares his shoulder, showing his tattoo, declaring that he's going to rob guys, not a bank, and they must have heard of him as a debt bully. Tom calmly declares that he will pay the unbalanced man money. The guy clarifies the amount of the transfer and says that he will use the QR code to pay the man the money. Rick interrupts Tom, saying that he is crazy if he is going to pay the man. The translation is successful. The man is glad that he was able to deceive the guys and get the money. However, Tom has no intention of leaving, much less letting the man go. The protagonist, with a devilish smile, says that they paid for the damage to his car, and now it is the man's turn to pay for the motorcycle. The man doesn't take the guy's threat seriously, calling the motorcycle a piece of junk and saying he's willing to pay full price for it. Tom, with the same evil smile, repeats the man's words about the full price. The protagonist states that this junk has a rocket engine, a fighter jet radar system, an aircraft carrier anti-missile matrix, and even tank armor. Sea, sky, earth, and space, all in one. Tom demands that the man pay at least $10 million and not even think about running away. The man is shocked by the guy's impudence and is not going to pay such a huge sum for a broken-down motorcycle. The main character warns the man not to regret his refusal later when he picks up a megaphone. A guy shouts provocative statements about a man throughout the yard. One of the area's residents went out onto the balcony, saying he knew the man was bad, but he didn't think he was that bad. The girl from another house is also outraged by the man's actions. Insults rain down on the man from all sides. He accuses Tom of slandering him and will regret it, to which the guy tells him to look at his phone, if he wants. Then everyone will know the man's secrets. The man is scared. He doesn't understand how the guy found all the compromising photos of him. At Tom's request, the system found all the information about the man that the hero might need. The man fell to his knees in front of the guy and began to beg him not to spread this information. In exchange, he was ready to pay any amount that Tom demanded. The guy quickly receives a transfer of $10 million to keep him quiet. Tom made such a huge amount of money easily and is very happy about it. The guy thinks to buy a luck elixir that increases luck, and everything starts going perfectly smoothly within an hour. Tom has earned 390 points in total. and he still needs 110 more to buy the elixir. The main character, hugging his friends by the shoulders, declares that he will take them where they did not have the courage to go. The guy says they will definitely like this place. The boys find themselves in a sky hall that serves as a casino. Harry is not sure that they can be here. At the entrance, they are stopped by a security guard who states that he cannot let them in. However, Tom ignores his statement and throws his card at him. The employee, seeing that Tom was from a large corporation, fell into a stupor. He realized that he had made a serious mistake by blocking the hero's path. Hearing that such an important guest had visited them, the girls in beautiful dresses lined up at the entrance and began to greet Tom and his friends. The protagonist cannot believe that they got here without any difficulty, because the system said that this place is the biggest casino in the city. Tom is ready to have a blast today, while the man who didn't let them in looks menacingly after them. He radios his boss to tell him that they seem to have caught a big one today. Beautiful girls in tight suits and bunny ears walk around the hall serving alcoholic drinks. Tom is delighted with the place they managed to get to, and the girl next to them offers to show the heroes everything that is here. The girl began to give a short tour, showing the guys the slot machines, card tables, and gaming tables. Suddenly, Harry is called out by a beautiful girl with big breasts and blue hair. She invites the guy to play with her. Having noticed her curvaceous figure, the guy cannot take his eyes off her. He is ready to accept any offer from the girl. However, Tom pulls him away from the girl, stating that they don't have time for this, because they have serious business ahead of them. Holding out his card to the girl next to him, the protagonist asks her to bring him her game chips. Tom's friends who received the chips did not expect there to be so many of them. But Tom says he has one condition. With a serious expression on his face, the protagonist declares that they must all lose. The guy decides to start playing with dice, anticipating the excitement. People are shocked when they see the number of Tom's chips. They assume it could be worth 10 million. The dice must come up with all threes, and the protagonist triples his bet, naming the sum of 500,000. The girl who is watching the game apologizes and says that the highest bet should not exceed 100,000. The guy looks at her with displeasure and agrees, placing a bet of 100,000. The dealer rolls the dice, and the numbers 3, 3, and 5 appear on them. The protagonist bets on triple again, and the girl accepts his bet. The man next to him says that triples are very rare, and his friend agrees, saying that it is a waste of money. But the guy has his own motivation. For every 10 million he gets 100 points, so he simply needs to lose all his money to achieve his goal. Tom turns away from the dealer, declaring that such small bets are too boring for him. However, the main character is called out by a beautiful blonde, who says that if the guy thinks the stakes are too low, he can follow her. Tom was filled with enthusiasm and was ready to follow the girl anywhere. The girl leads the guy to the golden door, indicating the status of the owner of the room behind it. They are greeted by a man who sits at the other end of the marble table. A man who introduced himself as Joseph greets the guest while biting into a chocolate bar. Tom, seeing his future opponent, assumes that the man is simply cosplaying as some Hollywood tough guy. Joseph throws something, attracting the protagonist's attention. The man offers the guy any games he likes, poker, mahjong, dice, whatever Tom wants. The main character suggests playing dice, since this is more or less what he is familiar with. However, Joseph has conditions. His minimum bet is 500,000. Tom says that this is not enough and suggests raising the stake to 1 million. The man clearly did not expect such an offer from the main character. While Tom plays, a fat man watches him through screens, seeing all the hero's actions. The main character is clearly not interested in the events that are taking place. This can be seen from his facial expression. The man who is watching the guy's actions is the owner of the Heavenly Hall and is interested in the main character, considering him funny. The girl who took Tom to Joseph says that everyone likes people who give money without asking questions. The man furiously declares that if the girl brings more players like her to them, his business will skyrocket. Meanwhile, the game between Joseph and Tom continues, and everyone is eager to see their confrontation. The guy who follows the game says that even as the French gambling king, he has never been this crazy. A top Indian player agrees, claiming he has never thrown so much money away. The only pirate player from the Caribbean says he thought no one could be more reckless than him. But Tom is here. The man says that in Japan, everyone knows to avoid playing dice with Joseph. Joseph has all the dice under control and will beat anyone without any problem. The dice come up with the numbers 1, 5, and 3, and the man has once again defeated Tom. Joseph advises Tom not to bet on the triple anymore, since the probability of it falling out is extremely low. Pointing to the number of chips the main character has, the man states that half of them have already been lost. However, Tom is completely indifferent to the situation and again places a triple bet for 1 million. Joseph takes the guy's statement as a challenge, claiming that he will never get a triple. The dice come up with the numbers 1, 1, and 3, and the man wins again. Joseph asks the boy threateningly what he will say, expecting to see disappointment from losing on his face. However, the guy, throwing his chips, already bets 4 million on triple. Joseph intends to win all of Tom's money, leaving him with nothing. The dice come up 5, 5, 6, and the man wins again. The man laughs evilly, saying that the guy is an idiot if he plays dice with him, and Joseph is ready to take all of the protagonist's money. There are men standing behind Tom calling him a fool, but one of them suggests that the guy might have some kind of evil plan. They continue to mock the protagonist, calling him rich but stupid, and claiming that he would be better off spending the money on brain surgery. Having spent the required amount, the guy gets 100 points, which he lacked before buying the elixir of luck, and the system asks if Tom wants to buy the elixir now. Tom accepts the system's offer and buys the elixir of luck, tossing a chip and saying that the show is about to begin. Tom used the elixir of luck and received the blessing of the goddess of luck. A reboot of luck is taking place, a blessed journey. Joseph reminds the protagonist that he only has 1 million left and asks if he wants to bet on the triple again. The house smiles slyly and puts all its remaining chips on the game. The man planned for the guy to lose all his money and was already ready to enjoy the future victory. Suddenly, a pirate player and a French king decide to join the game. Joseph looks at this proposal skeptically, asking how they are going to play. Top Indian player says they won't be playing, but will just bet on the outcome of the game. Joseph thinks of men as a bunch of greedy losers, who, seeing how stupid the main character is, want to tear off a piece of him. Tom says that he is in poverty, and the only thing he has left is money, so if he loses, he will pay them twice as much. The men were fired up with enthusiasm, betting 8, 10, 20, 50 million. Pointing their finger at the main character, they declare that they are betting on his loss. Joseph, feeling his victory, says that there is no turning back and opens the glass with the cube. Everyone is about to find out the result. This is a very intriguing moment. Joseph looks at the glowing cubes, anticipating his victory. Men who placed bets also hope to receive double the money. However, Tom is also confident of his victory. The dice show 3 sixes, which is a triple. No one clearly expected such an outcome, declaring that it was impossible. The men's faces were distorted with shock and horror. The casino owner, who had been watching the game the whole time, also did not expect that Tom could win, and even broke the cup in his hand. The main character has already started to count how much the best players from different countries owe him, doubling their debt twofold. In the end, the guy won 200 million. The men began to blame Joseph for their loss, suggesting that he might be in cahoots with Tom. Tom, distracted from the arguments, writes to Rick to bring the boys right away. The casino owner angrily runs out to the main character, calling him names and asking how he dared to play with him. However, Tom didn't even turn around to the man's screams, not paying any attention to him. The owner is extremely fierce and has brought a bunch of security guards and is ready to throw Tom out of the casino. However, the protagonist is not interested in the insults directed at him, and he says that the man fell so low simply because he lost. But the owner does not intend to listen to the comments addressed to him, saying that this is his territory. The men order their subordinates to detain the main character. However, Harry and Rick stand up for Tom, saying that the casino owner does not want to pay, even though he lost. People who were deceived by the man also take their side and want justice. A fight breaks out between the two sides, and the people are outraged at their loss, assuming that the owner has deliberately staged it. Rick said that he saw Tom's message and called the guys for help to deal with the owner, to which the protagonist says that he will treat his friend later. After the man gets what he deserves, Tom asks the owner if he still thinks the guy cheated, to which the owner replies that he doesn't think so and will pay him everything he owes. The main character receives a notification on his phone that the gambling king of France, the gambling magician of India, the pirate and gambler from the Caribbean, the gambling king of Japan and the heavenly hall have brought him a lot of millions. Tom received 200 million. By spending them, he will be able to get 2,000 points. While the main character was looking at his phone, his aunt called him, and the guy quickly picked up the call. Auntie tells Tom that his uncle had an accident and is now in the hospital. Hearing this information, the main character became scared and quickly went to the hospital where his uncle was lying. While he is driving, he is tormented by bad thoughts about the man. When Tom was little, his uncle brought him to his family and they raised the boy. Uncle accepted Tom as his own son. He taught him, fed him, and took care of him. The main character's family was not rich, so the uncle had to work long and hard. But thanks to this, he could afford to pay for Tom's studies at university. The guy hopes that nothing bad happened to his uncle and he is okay. Tom quickly arrived at the hospital, dispersing everyone present in order to get to the man faster. He bumps into people and pushes them to get to his uncle's location faster. The boy noticed his aunt in the hospital, who was standing next to a tall, dark-haired man. When the woman saw her nephew, horror appeared on her face. Ant tells Tom that his uncle simply injured his leg and needs to be hospitalized. The guy breathes a sigh of relief, realizing that his relative is not in serious danger. However, the presence of a menacing dark-haired man makes the protagonist nervous. Tom asks if this guy is Dad's friend, to which the woman denies it. Auntie says that this man hit Uncle. Tom, upon hearing this information, became very angry at the man, clarifying his involvement in this matter. The man feels no remorse, accusing his uncle that it was his own fault that he did not see where he was going. The man also says that his car is scratched, and out of the kindness of his heart he is not asking for payment for it. Tom accuses the man of saying such things after crashing into someone, to which he responds for the guy to stop yelling because he sees all the tricks the poor people play. The man hands his aunt a large stack of money, claiming it is for medical expenses. However, before the women can take the money, the man lets them go. With an evil smile, the man apologizes, saying that the money slipped out of his hands. The money fell on the floor, and the woman doesn't know what to do. The man deliberately dropped the money so that she would pick it up from the floor, since she doesn't have money to pay for medical care. The man suggests that Tom pick up the money from the floor instead of the woman. The aunt resigned herself to the circumstances and resignedly fell to her knees to collect the money. However, before the girl could take the money, the main character intercepted her hand, not allowing her to take the action. The guy tells his aunt not to worry because he will pay for his uncle's medical care. The woman wants to say something to her nephew. Tom interrupts his aunt, telling the man that he no longer has to pay for medical care. The main characters demand that the man get down on his knees and apologize to his aunt. The man mockingly asks if the guy really wants him to change in front of a woman. With a snap of his fingers, 2 mounds of dirt appear next to the man. From the mud emerge 2 men who call themselves the Gopher Brothers. They stand right in front of the protagonist and his aunt, asking if they are tired of living and want problems with their boss. The woman tells Tom to forget his idea because they won't be able to fight these rich people. The men agree with the protagonist's aunt, stating that they just need to take his money, and he would never apologize on his knees to a woman. Tom snaps his fingers, which surprises the man. The men burst into laughter, saying that the guy even learned to snap his fingers like him. But Tom shouldn't expect anyone to come to his aid. However, his laughter is interrupted by a stomping sound, similar to an earthquake. A whole crowd of dark-skinned security guards in suits comes to the guy's aid. The man's face quickly distorted into shock and confusion. The guards quickly surrounded the man and the 2 guys who came to his aid. The guys, sensing danger, quickly retreat underground, wishing the boss to be careful. The man did not expect that his subordinates would betray him, and he was left alone with the formidable men. A black security guard asks a man if he is the one causing problems for his boss. The man quickly falls to his knees in fear. He begins to apologize to the main character, regretting that he did not immediately recognize the guy and was ready to be his servant and crawl on his knees. Tom, with a murderous expression on his face, tells the man to get lost, calling him a worthless piece of trash. The protagonist calls Edward, and he immediately appears in front of him. A guy asks a man if he sees a Lamborghini on the street, to which he receives a positive answer. Tom orders Edward to smash the man's car. The guard quickly understood the guy's task, and armed with objects capable of destroying something, the men headed towards the Lamborghini. The man, seeing that the security guards were approaching to destroy his car, stood up to defend it. However, the guards quickly sent the man into the air so that he would not interfere with their mission. The man watches in horror as his car is destroyed blow after blow. Suddenly, a road roller appears behind him, causing even more shock. A road roller, running over a car, easily flattens it. In the end, nothing remains of the guy's car. The man can only look at the destroyed car. Suddenly, money bills fall on his head. Tom, who threw the money at the man, says that it is for the car payment, adding that he should pack up and get out. However, the man is not going to forgive the main character and take his money, claiming that this is unforgivable. The man claims he just called the big shots and Tom is dead. Captain Kick arrives at the scene with his assistants, who ask about the wrecked car. The man asks Kick to take revenge for him, because his car was smashed and he was bullied. Tom notices his acquaintance, claiming that a lot of time has passed. Captain Kick also recognizes Tom. The man did not expect that these 2 knew each other, and turned to stone with fear. The protagonist hands the captain his lawyer's business card while the guards sneak up behind him as if they weren't there. Captain Kick looks at Tim's lawyer's business card. The man concludes that the lawyer will be difficult to deal with, remembering how he shouted that Kick is responsible for the boss's reputation. The man distracts the captain from his thoughts by reminding him that Tom crashed his Lamborghini. Kick, lighting a cigarette, says that it's just in time and he needs to ask the man something. The captain recalls that earlier today, an unlicensed Lamborghini ran a red light and hit a man. After the incident, the owner of the car wanted to flee the scene of the crime, but luckily the police stopped him, after which Kick asks if this could be the man's car. The man tries to get out of it by saying that he has a BMW. The man is then grabbed by the arms by Captain Kick's assistants, who remind him that the man said his Lamborghini was wrecked and ask him to follow them. The man is desperately trying to get out, claiming that they got the wrong guy and he recently had dinner with their boss and wants to meet him, and also that he wants to call his lawyer to complain to Tom, who was watching what was happening. Ironically noted that the man called the police, who caught him. Suddenly, the protagonist is distracted from his thoughts by someone's loud voice calling him. The protagonist's aunt wants to know where the guy got so much money from, who those people dressed in black were, and whether the guy really joined the criminal world. Tom tries to justify himself to the woman, claiming that he received this money from the business he is involved in. Suddenly, the main character asks where his cousin is and why she didn't come. The woman, horrified, reports that her cousin called and said she was on her way, but after that, no matter how many times they called, they couldn't get through. Cousin has always been devoted. It is impossible that she would not come. Tom assumes that this is not an accident. The protagonist leaves, saying that he will go look for the girl, and asks his aunt to take care of his uncle. Tom, driving in his car, asks the system if there is any way to find his cousins, to which the system replies that there is a super navigation system. The system marks the location of the protagonist's cousin on the map with a red dot. Pixie warns that Tom will have to spend 5 points every minute to use this system, to which the guy is indignant that the system told him about the disadvantages of the option only after it was turned on. The system reminds that the target is currently in danger. The protagonist's face distorted in horror, and he pressed the gas to get to his sister's location faster. Tom reasons that first the uncle suffered, then the cousin. It can't be a simple coincidence. The main character assumes that someone clearly has a grudge against him. Tom finds himself in a strip bar where a beautiful girl with devil horns and red lingerie performs. The girl is also wearing fishnet tights and red high-heeled shoes. The main character does not understand why his cousin came here. Suddenly, the guy's attention is drawn to a fat man who demands someone to drink. The girl was surrounded by a group of guys who pestered her and forced her to drink. The girl does not intend to agree to the guy's persuasion, covering herself with her hand. One of the guys gets angry at her and hits her in the face. The guy claims that he saved her dignity by inviting her to have a drink with them, and the girl still refuses. The guy says that no one has ever dared to refuse them before, until Tom approaches him. The main character hits the guy between the legs, spitting on his dignity. The boy winces in pain as his friends ask how he is feeling. Tom approaches his cousin, inquiring about her condition. The girl asks worriedly why the guy is here. She grabs her cousin's hand, telling him that they need to run. The protagonist asks questions about why they are running away, to which the girl replies that now is not the time for questions, and she will tell everything later. However, the guys who were pestering the girl block the two's path. The blonde guy that Tom hit orders his friends to stop the protagonist with his cousin, and if they do so, he will buy beer at his own expense. The girl watches in fear as huge guys approach her, who can easily defeat her. They surrounded Tom and his cousin, claiming that they were already dead. Tears well up in the girl's eyes. She looks down and asks the main character for forgiveness. However, Tom does not intend to be looked at or afraid. He tells his sister not to worry. Adjusting his suit, the guy moves forward, telling her to leave the rest to him. The blonde guy says that Tom is naive, and he won't be able to bribe such a huge number of clients. After his statement, the guy gets hit in the head with a brick, which breaks upon impact. Turning back, the guy wants to know who dared to throw a brick at him, threatening to catch the villain. But the people, armed with objects that can be used to hit, are not at all afraid of the guy's threats, heading in his direction. Tom states that the only one here who is naive is the guy. The main character recalls a proverb that says that if you have money, people will always help you. But if you are broke, no one will lift a finger. People have long had a dislike for the fair-haired guy, and now that they have the opportunity to beat him up and take revenge for everything, they simply cannot help but take advantage of it. Having surrounded the guy, the people began to beat him with various hard objects. Unable to bear everything that was happening, the guy screamed, calling for help from the master. Suddenly, a mysterious man in a cloak with a white beard and long hair materializes next to the guy. The guy is very happy about the appearance of his mentor Mason and declares that his offenders are already dead after the appearance of the master. The boys have heard about the powerful Master Mason and run away in fear so that they will not be punished. The protagonist sarcastically asks if the man came here from a martial arts movie. Mason easily defeats the people in his path, moving in Tom's direction, stating that he will let him see what he is capable of. He flies straight at the main character, wishing him death. It dawns on Tom that the man is indeed a martial artist, and the realization horrifies him. The guy analyzes Mason's attack, assuming that his combat power is more than 10,000. and he will not be able to survive more than 3 seconds after his attack. The main character urgently needs to come up with a plan to save his life. The system offers its help for 1,000 points, which shocks Tom. The guy doesn't understand where he's supposed to find so many points right now, and how he's supposed to earn these points if he dies. The system explains that because Tom is a newbie, the system gives him invincible powers, while throwing a banana peel somewhere. The protagonist demands that the system return and explain what these invincible superpowers are, and how a banana peel will help here. While Tom was talking to the system, Mason approached him, trying to strike. But the main character manages to dodge and is not hit. A man slips on a banana peel, hitting his head on the floor. The blow was so strong that Mason's hair and beard fell off, and the man himself was rendered unconscious. No one expected such a turn of events, not even Tom himself. He tensely asks if the issue has been resolved. The blonde boy runs up to his master, asking how he is feeling, and says that as his student, he will avenge him. However, a crowd with bats appears behind the guy, claiming that he will not be able to take revenge, since he is unlikely to survive today. The guy asks for help while he is being beaten. The main characters give a check for 1 million to their cousin for the treatment of their uncle. The girl looks in horror at the huge sum of money that the main character gave her. Tom asks the girl to be quiet because they are in public, while she asks where he got so much money. The girl questions her cousin until the guy understands why she always doubts him. The protagonist distracts her attention by saying that there is an uncle behind her. While the girl turns away, the main character quickly runs away, saying at the end that everything is fine with the money. The cousin is angry that Tom ran away too quickly, while there is an incomprehensible silhouette of a person behind her. The man behind her is on the phone telling his boss that the blonde guy also failed his task. The phone falls to the floor, shattering into pieces. Dan, who set a trap for the boss, is angry that nothing worked, and his subordinates can't even do this. While Ron says that father can't allow Tom to do whatever he wants. Dan tells his son to be confident that there are other options. With an angry expression on his face, the man declares that the protagonist's shares will be his, having caught his breath. Tom is glad that he finally escaped from his cousin, and is very afraid that the girl will be involved in all this. Suddenly, a system appears next to the guy, congratulating the main character that a new mission is available to him. Tom is angry that the system scared him, but the pixies say that the guy shouldn't be so cruel, because this is a charitable mission. The main character is interested in the charity mission, and the system explains that the guy needs to win the famous singer Vanessa. The reward is 1,000 points and 2 full attributes. However, if Tom does not complete the task, he will be turned into a girl. The protagonist is not satisfied with this task and states that he was busy all night and needs to go back to sleep. The system reminds that the guy has already refused the mission once. If he refuses again, it will carry out the primary punishment. The main character accepts the task in fear, so as not to be punished by the system. As Pixie disappears, she wishes the user luck while the boy realizes what he's gotten himself into. Tom imagines Jessica's upset face and doesn't understand why he should date someone else now when he was with Jessica. The main character's mission takes place at a charity concert. A beautiful green-haired singer performs her song on stage. The girl is very attractive, and her voice is melodic and captivating. The public is madly in love with Vanessa and wants to hear the songs again and again. Tom realizes that this is a really lucrative assignment, and he never thought that in reality the girl would look 100 times better than on TV. The main characters simply must get Vanessa. Tom turns on the spiritual art of spreading money, and people around him run in different directions to catch the bills. Everyone wants to get at least part of the money, completely forgetting about the concert they came to. Vanessa scenes do not understand what is happening and why people suddenly started fighting. Tom quickly appears on stage next to the girl, handing her a bouquet of money, stating that he is from a large corporation and they can count the money together. However, the main character is quickly pushed off the stage. Scary older men are ready to sacrifice many thousands for the sake of a girl at her charity concert. Noticing each other, the men began to quarrel, declaring that the other was not worthy of Vanessa. The girl tries to calm the men around her, claiming that as long as it is for good intentions, she will try her best to satisfy everyone's desire. The protagonist thinks that it is not surprising, because the girl is a celebrity, and the competition has only intensified. Tom feels superior because his opponents are just a few old men, and they can't beat him. Luke, a guy with purple hair, appears next to the main character and declares that he is donating 10 million. Tom doesn't understand how this guy got on stage unnoticed. Ordinary people are shocked by Luke's statement, remembering that the guy is the manager of his family's medical business. Before donating the money, however, Luke has one request. He asks Vanessa to give him a kiss. Luke justifies his desire by saying that Vanessa is a very kind person. The girl understands that for the sake of charitable donations, she will not dare to refuse the guy. Luke was followed by older men who were outraged that Vanessa would kiss a guy for that kind of money. Luke states that if they are so brave, they can sacrifice more than him. However, men do not want to spend such a lot of money and remain silent. Suddenly, a guy intervenes in the conversation, stating that this is his first charitable donation, and he is inexperienced in this matter, which attracts Luke's attention. The main character declares that he is donating 100 million. People didn't expect that anyone could afford to spend 1 billion on charity. Rumors began circulating in the audience that the main character was a billionaire. Luke angrily declares that to show love, it doesn't matter how much money you sacrifice. However, the men behind him say that the guy doesn't dare say that, because he was just pretending. However, Tom stands up for Luke, saying that money is just property. The most important thing is love. In the future, the main character plans to create a charity fund. Extending his hand to the girl, the guy says that this fund will not be named after him. Kissing Vanessa's hand, Tom declares that the foundation will be named after his goddess. The girl is very confused by the protagonist's statement. The people, having heard what the guy said, immediately changed their opinion of him, noting that the main character is not only rich, but also loving, and only he is worthy of their goddess, which causes Luke's anger. People, seeing Luke's discontent, began to drive him away, throwing various things at him. People are still pushing the guy away from Tom and Vanessa, and the main character thinks that someone like Luke is not worthy of the singer. Suddenly, people started asking Tom and Vanessa to kiss. The protagonist is very embarrassed by the people's proposal, saying that it is not nice to do this in public. Vanessa quickly approached the guy and kissed him on the cheek, which caused Tom's face to blush even more. The girl quietly whispered in the boy's ear that at 9 o'clock in the evening in the small forest behind the school, he should be there. Otherwise, he would lose. Tom is left standing there, embarrassed, while the girl walks away. Suddenly, a system appears above the protagonist's head, congratulating him on completing his charitable mission. As a reward, the guy gets 1,000 points and 2 full attributes. However, the main character is not particularly concerned about her winnings. His thoughts are filled with the girl's words about meeting in a small forest. Tom is going crazy about the fact that he will be able to meet a beautiful singer, and the systems think that the guy is just crazy. This happens to the main character for the first time in his life, and he believes that he must be perfectly prepared, while the system stands behind him with a sign that says, "Stupid." Dom did everything to be fully prepared for the meeting with Vanessa. Armed with everything he can, the guy is ready to head into the small forest. The little forest is a forest of lovers, and the boy is already heading there. Vanessa is already waiting for Tom at the site under cover of night. The main character notices the girl and calls out to her. Vanessa looks charming as she turns to greet the guy. Tom is very nervous. He is very red and sweaty. The main character tries to make small talk with the girl, complimenting her and asking about her condition. Suddenly, there was a tense pause between the couple. Tom is very tense, thinking that the battle hasn't even started yet, and his head is already empty. He doesn't understand where all his calm and everyday chic has gone. The protagonist is still new to this kind of thing, and suddenly he is challenged. Suddenly, Vanessa took Tom's hand, which caused the guy's silent bewilderment. The singer looks at the main character, telling him to come with her, captivating him with her gaze. The heroes find themselves on a tree under the moonlight. Tom didn't expect them to end up on a tree branch, assuming that all celebrities had such oddities. The girl explains that she doesn't want to be bitten by mosquitoes, and the view is much better here. But if the main character doesn't like it, they can change the scenery. Turning her back to the guy and sitting on a tree branch, she asks him to be more gentle with her. Tom, anticipating the moment for which he had been preparing all evening, tells the girl to worry, and he will be the most tender. Suddenly the boy falls and hits his head hard on a tree trunk. The girl asks if Tom is okay and what he was thinking while the guy tries to come to his senses. Realizing that all his ideas were just a figment of his imagination, the protagonist tries to justify himself by saying that he was thinking about how to found a charitable foundation. Vanessa considers Tom a good man and sincerely thanks him for such a generous donation. The guy asks if the girl really asked him to come here just to thank her. Vanessa explained that if they communicated in public places, bad rumors could start. So she had to ask him to come here, and the girl was very sorry that she disturbed the guy. Tom says everything is fine, but his little dream of a forest grove is destroyed. Suddenly, Ron appears in the lover's forest, declaring that Tom has indeed won Vanessa's heart. The main character, covering the girl with his hand, asks what Ron wants. The guy hands Tom a contract of transfer and shares. If the guy does not sign it, he will meet his death today. The main character, taking the contract in his hands, quickly tore it up. The guy tells Ron not to even dream about it, and he will never sign the contract. Ron's assistant helps him light a cigarette between his teeth while the guy tells Tom to think about it. Ron clarifies whether the protagonist's uncle and sister are still in the hospital. Tom is horrified to think what this guy knows. Ron says that now the guy has to get it, and he has to sign the contract. If the main character does not sign the contract, all his relatives will be dead. Ron begins to list all the people dear to Tom. Unable to withstand such pressure, the main character attacks the guy. However, Tom is quickly knocked out with a bat by the guy Ron came with. The boys quickly start kicking the main character. Vanessa stands up for Tom, shielding him with herself and declaring that she is going to call the police. However, the guys are not at all bothered by the girl's statement and they mock her. Clinging to Vanessa from all sides, they offer her to have fun with them. The girl asks for help in tears. The beaten protagonist gets up and declares that he is ready to sign the contract. The guy demands that he be given this contract to sign. Mockingly, Ron says that the guy should have agreed earlier and hands him a piece of paper. While signing the contract, the main character says that the guy was lucky this time and asks how he knew that he was here. Ron replies that they have planted a lot of people in Tom's circle. The main character asks if the guy was involved in the accident and the street fight, to which he receives a positive answer. Tom says Ron has some good plans in place to take his shares. Ron exults and states that he was able to pull it all off thanks to his father's advice. The main character hands the signed contract to the guy. However, the agreement on the transfer of shares did not contain Tom's signature, but only gratitude for the fact that Ron told all his plans, as well as insults addressed to the guy. Ron is angry that the protagonist deceived him and orders his subordinates to kill the guy. Tom asks the system to provide him with medical assistance. The system activates the furious potion. A blinding light begins to emanate from the main character, and the guys who are ready to attack Tom do not understand what is happening. The protagonist, who is on fire, declares that the boys will die first. The guys don't take the main character seriously, claiming that he is cosplaying Bruce Lee or parodying Jackie Chan. One of them claims that Tom is just bluffing and won't do anything to them. A glowing ball surrounded by lightning appears in the protagonist's hands. The guys claim that Tom simply read too many comics, and they will be able to kill him no matter what. Having formed a fireball, the protagonist releases it away from the attackers. A huge glowing beam from the guy's hands destroys everything in its path. The main character's ability leaves nothing alive in its path. The boys lie prostrate on the dead ground after the impact. The blow was painful for Tom as well. The system explains that the guy released too much energy in one blow, and it was hard on his body. The protagonist asks where Ron is, and the system points to a guy who was sitting on his knees in complete shock. Tom approaches the guy and demands that he provide all the evidence of his crimes and the crimes of his father. Otherwise, he will face serious punishment. However, Ron states that he will never turn in his father. Tom laughs at the guy's statement, saying that it's touching. But there's one catch. The guy recorded Ron's confessions on a dictaphone. While Ron says he will tell him everything, the protagonist states that he gave the couple a chance, but he blew it. Tom states that it is too late to do anything now. Ron looks in horror at the protagonist's evil face, foreseeing his punishment. Harry hears someone screaming in the woods, but Rick claims it was his toy. Vanessa runs towards Tom, worried, shouting his name. She asks if the guy is okay and says that the police have already arrived at the scene. The main character says that he is fine and has already sorted everything out, while the girl asks again if he really managed to do it himself. Tom points his fingers at Ron, who is sitting near a tree in shock. The girl admires the main character, saying that he is amazing and eliminated everyone himself. The guy claims that it's nothing and that he didn't even use his full strength. Vanessa asks Tom to walk her home so he can show her his true power. The guy was very embarrassed by her proposal and blushed deeply. However, their conversation is interrupted by Captain Kick, who was informed of the robbery. The protagonist did not expect to see the captain here and asks if there is really only one policeman in the whole city. Kick also did not expect to see Tom here. The captain asks where the suspects are, suggesting it might be the guy, but Vanessa defends Tom. The girl points her finger at Ron, saying that he wanted to hurt Tom and her. When Ron wakes up, he notices that there is a police officer nearby and wants to make an accusation. The guy says that the main character attacked him and his friends, causing severe damage to the most important place. Ron said that the guy was using the power of a manga hero and must be an alien invading planet Earth. Captain Kiku got tired of listening to this nonsense and ordered his subordinates to take the guy away. Tom announces that he has a gift for Kick. The guy hands the captain Ron's phone, in which he can find many interesting things. The captain looks in horror at the information on the phone that the main character gave him. The guy says he'll leave it to Kick as he heads towards Vanessa. Suddenly, the man grabs Tom by the arm, saying that the boy needs to follow him to the station for something very important. The main character does not want to follow the captain, because he planned to take Vanessa home, but Kick does not intend to listen to anything. The next day turned out to be very sunny and clear, illuminating Tom's villa with bright light. Tom spent the whole night at the police station and slept only a few hours. The guy didn't have time to fully wake up before Jessica was already standing in front of him with a tray of food, Edward and Tim, who intended to tell the hero something. Tom didn't expect to see so many people in his room so early in the morning. The lawyer reports that a board meeting will take place today. The guy smirks as he talks about how he could forget about something like that, and it looks like everyone is motivated. Tom is determined to fight today. The main character is met by beautiful young secretaries who immediately begin to discuss how handsome and rich the guy is. Tom, wearing a black coat and accompanied by a security guard and a lawyer, heads to a meeting. The system notices that people are very interesting, and now that the guy has money, everyone loves him. Pixie tells Tom to wait until he becomes the biggest investor. Then he will be loved even more, and the guy will be able to live a luxurious life. But the main character says that he doesn't need it while the system looks at him with incomprehension. Tom explains that he doesn't want to become trash like Ron, and once the company is completely his, he will use his wealth to help society. The system completely stopped understanding the main character. Pixie says that these words coming from a guy don't seem believable at all, but Tom gets angry, saying that he is serious. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted by someone calling the main character. Shawn states that he has found support, so the protagonist needs to prepare for death, and after today he will become a beggar again. Edward quickly comes to Tom's aid, chasing away Shawn and his new girlfriend. A beaten Shawn and his girlfriend claim that at least he had a chance to brag. The protagonist, accompanied by a security guard and a lawyer, appears in front of the conference room. Tom asks the lawyer to give him the file, and one will be enough. The main character tells the man to just trust him and go do what you told him. The lawyer has to agree to his boss's demands. In the conference room, people stared at Tom with unfriendly looks. Tim sat at the head of the table, surprised by the guy's courage. Because he came today, Ron wrote to his father that Tom wanted to sign the contract face to face. Even though Dan didn't know what the protagonist was up to, he wouldn't let it slip away from him. The man has already collected shares of the company, and the CEO is also on his side. Dan intends to destroy the main character today. Tom greets those present in the conference hall in a friendly manner. However, the men do not pay any attention to the main character. The guy understands that they are on Dan's side, and this makes his task much more difficult. The man extends his hand to Tom as a sign of greeting and friendliness. The man introduces himself as Sebastian. The atmosphere in the room is extremely tense and oppressive. Sebastian, not paying attention to those around him, with a friendly smile declares that they have gathered today because a new shareholder has joined them. Pointing his hand at the main character, the man greets him. Colleagues are clearly not happy to see the new shareholder, and think that the guy is already dead today. Dan interrupts Sebastian's greeting and states that he has something to say about Tom. The man states that just a few days ago, the protagonist had no money or status, and now he has become the largest shareholder in the company, and he has $100 million in his account, and Dan has investigated this case and is ready to deliver a verdict. The man claims that Tom embezzled money from their company. The action that the main character committed, according to Dan, is a crime. But thanks to his kindness, the man will not report the guy to the police. However, the man has conditions. Tom will have to give him all his shares. Sebastian believes that Dan is too ambitious, and the protagonist's shares are worth more than $10 billion. Sebastian decides that he cannot allow the man to carry out his evil plan. The man, with a friendly smile on his face, tells Dan that this is a serious accusation and he must have strong evidence. However, the protagonist interrupts Sebastian's attempts to stand up for him, saying that it is useless. Tom says that given that Dan is the president of the company, he has already made the perfect plan to expose the guy, and today Tom arrived at the meeting only to transfer his shares to the man. Dan is glad that he was able to defeat the protagonist, calling him a smart boy. However, Tom says he has no intention of transferring all of his shares to the man. On the contrary, the guy says that Dan should bring all his shares to him. The man smirks at the protagonist's statement, saying that he would only do this in the guy's dreams. Dan receives a notification on his phone from his son that he is being held hostage by the main character, and the man is obliged to bring all his shares to Tom. Dan smiled, claiming that he understood everything. The man has completely lost his mind and begins to revel in the absurdity of the situation. Dan tells the protagonist not to even hope that he would give up everything for his idiot son. Tom starts yelling at the man, saying that his phone contains all the evidence of Dan and his son's crimes. In response to the protagonist's statement, the man only smirks, claiming that the guy can do whatever he wants. Dan states that if the guy does what he has planned, he will tell the police that Tom stole the phone from his son and falsified this evidence. The main character will not be able to do anything, because Dan has a crowd of lawyers behind him. Colleagues in the conference room are on President Dan's side, claiming that this is all Tom's doing. Panic grips the protagonist, and the guy comes to the conclusion that the man is a tough nut to crack, unlike his son. Dan appears in Tom's eyes as a true devil. The guy understands that his end is coming soon. Dan has the whole company on his side, and the main character is all alone, which doesn't meet his expectations at all. Suddenly, Tom's gaze falls on a shaved-headed guy who is staring at his phone. A ray of hope appears in the eyes of the protagonist. Perhaps he has a new plan. However, right in front of the guy's face falls a folder with a contract for the redistribution of shares. Dan stands right in front of Tom, demanding that he sign the contract immediately or face serious consequences. The protagonist tries to stall for time by claiming that the transfer of shares is a very important matter, and perhaps they should discuss it with other members of the company. Dan just laughs at the guy's statement, claiming that everyone present is on his side. Tom grins, saying that he wants to show his colleagues something interesting. The men began to look at the screen, on which Tom began to show a photograph. The photograph showed a beautiful girl in daring clothes, and in the background stood a bald-headed guy, whom the main character had been looking at earlier. The guy who accidentally got into the photo burst into rage, asking where Tom got the photo of his wife. But the main character claims that it was not he who took the photo of the guy with his wife. Tom found this photo on Dan's phone. The man starts to get angry, claiming that the protagonist will not be able to quarrel him with his colleagues. But Tom states that this is not all he wanted to show. The next photo was of Ron with the bald-headed guy's half-naked wife. The guy didn't expect to see his wife in the arms of another man, and is ready to explode from an excess of emotions. Colleagues begin to make fun of the guy, saying that he is now a cuckold. However, Tom interrupts the men's ridicule by saying that this applies to everyone. The guy starts sending men compromising photos of their naked wives and girlfriends. The guys can't get over the feelings of betrayal and humiliation, and wonder if there is someone's wife or female family member who was not in these photos. It turns out that everyone in the room is a cuckold. The guys direct their anger towards Dan, whose son is involved in all the photos. They declare that they will help the protagonist defeat the man and put him in jail. The boys attack Dan, saying that he is a terrible father if he allows his son to do such things, while Tom stands aside, coming to the conclusion that events have taken an unexpected turn. The guy thinks he really owes Ron this time, as he looks at his phone. Handing Dan a contract for the transfer of shares, the protagonist states that the man must be ready to sign, because all his colleagues have stood against him. The president is forced to sign the piece of paper that Tom gave him, and he begs the boy not to report anything to the police. The protagonist declares that he knows how to keep his word, and as soon as he returns he will free his son. Tom asks the system to restore the task of purchasing the company president's shares, to which Pixie replies that it will cost 10 points. However, this is not a problem for the guy, and eventually the system sets the main character's task. A system window pops up in front of the guy, showing that the hero has successfully completed his task, increased his level, and acquired new artifacts. However, colleagues do not intend to forgive Dan. The man says that now he has nothing, but he will ask his son to pay moral compensation to everyone. Men come to the conclusion that there is no point in taking revenge on the man, because his son is really to blame for everything. However, Dan does not feel any remorse at all. He is going to lie low in order to clean up the evidence Tom has of his crimes. After the man deals with his problems, he plans to destroy everyone in the room. Suddenly, Dan's thoughts about future revenge are interrupted by his son, who was covered in tears and snot, calling for his father. The man didn't expect to see Ron here today. Dan thought his son was being held hostage by the protagonist. But Ron said that everyone was wrong and Tom simply handed him over to the police. The touching reunion between father and son is interrupted by a male voice calling for Dan. Captain Kick appears before the man, stating that Dan is suspected of involvement in several commercial crimes. Kick asks the man to follow him to the police station. Dan yells at the protagonist because he promised not to turn him in to the police, but Tom claims that he didn't do that. He just gave Ron's phone as evidence. Tom states that if anyone confirms Dan's crimes, he will go to prison. Ron apologizes to his father for confessing everything, while the man is unable to figure out how to deal with his anger. Dan punches his son in the face, declaring that he will kill him. One of the men nearby tries to stop Dan from beating his own son. The man states that Ron is a material witness and should not be beaten while the boy tries to sneak away from his father. However, Ron is unable to slip away quietly. The guy is stopped by the men whose wives the guy was having fun with. The men are intent on getting revenge on Ron for his actions until he realizes what exactly he did wrong. After a hard day, the hero is greeted by a luxurious hotel, which indicates the status of its guests. Tom celebrates his victory over the company president by having drinks with Edward and Tim. The guy suddenly notices that Jessica is not present at the meeting now. but the security guard explains that the girl went to change clothes to surprise Tom. The main character took Edward's phrases about changing clothes and surprise strangely. Two beautiful ladies in luxurious outfits and with impeccable makeup noticed the main character. The girls know who Tom is. The guy is their type, rich and lonely. The red-haired girl is confident that when she gets a guy, she will become a rich lady, while her friend pushes her to take action. The girls instantly surrounded the main character, offering him a drink with them. Tom dismissively replies that he is a little busy right now, but the girl does not intend to back down, stating that in that case, they should hurry. Suddenly, someone else appears in the room, attracting the attention of everyone present. Jessica appeared before the main character in a magical dress and a beautiful hairstyle. The girls seemed to have come out of a fairy tale. The guys in the audience immediately took notice of Jessica, assuming she was a superstar or possibly an angel. The girl approaches Tom, who cannot take his eyes off her. Jessica says she arrived here for the guy's return and asks if he likes her in this dress. The girls who were trying to get the attention of the main character burst into anger when they saw Jessica ruining their plans. Tom quickly pushed away the annoying ladies, after which the main character carefully took Jessica's hand, pulling it towards him. He stood in front of her, claiming that he really liked the way the girl looked. Tom said that he liked Jessica even more than her dress. The girl was very embarrassed by the main character's compliment. They began to reach out to each other in the hope of a kiss. However, Vanessa suddenly appears in the room, interrupting Tom and Jessica from enjoying each other. Vanessa states that she heard that the guy was throwing a party, and since the girl was nearby, she decided to drop by to visit Tom. The main character did not expect to see the girl here, and still continues to hold Jessica's hand. Vanessa asks Tom who the girl standing next to him is. Tom tries to justify himself by saying that the girl is just an employee from his office, realizing that if Vanessa finds out that Jessica is his personal assistant, she will most likely kill him. Jessica's heart was broken after she heard that in the protagonist's heart, she was still just an employee. Tom tries to justify himself to Jessica, but suddenly the system appears behind him. Pixie kindly reminds him that if Vanessa doesn't have feelings for the guy, his assignment won't count. Tom is horrified by such a statement from the system. Jessica, Vanessa, and Tom remain standing in silence. Vanessa decides to break the silence by asking Jessica what she is doing with the guy. Jessica replies that she is the protagonist's personal maid, and they live together. Vanessa was stunned by this statement, while behind her everything was burning with anger. The system warns Tom that the girl's feelings for him are unlikely to exist. The main character does not understand what to do, because his task has not yet been completed, and for this, he faces severe punishment. The system says that the guy can still explain to the girl what is happening, because men's mouths are full of lies, and Tom accepts the system's offer. The protagonist wrote on a sign that he lives on the top floor, and Jessica on the bottom, and they do not sleep together, showing this sign to Vanessa to justify himself. Vanessa cooled down a little when she heard from Tom that the girl was an ordinary maid and nothing more. However, Jessica interrupted the girl, saying that she was not quite an ordinary maid, and she needed to wear a uniform. Imagining the girl in an erotic nurse's uniform, Vanessa flared up with anger again. Tom tried to justify himself by saying that it was a regular maid's uniform. Looking down and sighing heavily, the girl said she was surprised. Jessica re-entered the conversation, explaining that in addition to the uniform, she gives the guy a special massage. But considering that she doesn't understand much about it, Tom gave her a book. While showing Vanessa her book, Jessica complained that the technique was difficult to learn. The main character was speechless when he saw the girl holding the book he gave her. Vanessa's feelings dropped again, and as she approached the guy, she stated that she didn't know how lustful Tom was. The guy fell to his knees in front of the girl with a sign where he wrote that he had done nothing wrong. Pretending to be the most innocent, Tom asks Vanessa to believe him. The girl comes to the conclusion that it seems that Tom is not guilty of anything, and Jessica is just trying to piss her off. The girls do not intend to give up the main character to each other, and are ready to fight for the guy. Tom notices that Jessica and Vanessa are burning with anger. The system that appeared next to the main character congratulates him on the fact that Vanessa's feelings have returned. Suddenly, a man appears on stage in the hall and apologizes for keeping the audience waiting. The guy on stage declares that it is time to dance. The girls instantly stood in front of the main character, looking at him greedily. Jessica and Vanessa invite Tom to dance with them. The main character doesn't know what to do, what not to make a choice between girls, and the system at this time disappears, throwing Tom to the mercy of the world. The guy orders himself to calm down because all playboys go through this, and the more difficult the situation, the faster he needs to come to his senses. Tom compares the situation to a game where you have to act wisely to get a happy ending. In the guy's eyes, everything really turns into a game, and he is greeted by the main menu. Tom decides to start with the normal level of the game, The hero encounters a situation in which all the girls invite him to dance, and he needs to make a choice. The guy decides to make a choice in favor of Vanessa to test the level of her friendship. Tom gets an ending where he goes dancing with Vanessa, and Jessica gets upset and quits her job as a maid. However, the ending has a continuation, in which Jessica comes to the protagonist on a rainy night. The girl asks the guy to go with her, but Tom refuses her, fearing that Vanessa might see them. Jessica replies that she will take Tom in pieces and no one will know. A chainsaw appears in the girl's hands, with which she is ready to dismember the guy. For the protagonist, this is a terrible ending that he cannot allow. Tom tries to do things differently and, returning to the beginning, chooses Jessica to dance with. They dance so happily while Vanessa was left standing alone, feeling so sad. Vanessa, with a cloying smile on her face, declares that Jessica and Tom are simply made for each other. The protagonist apologizes to the girl, saying that he will ask her to dance next time, but the girl replies that everything is fine, saying that she is now going to play golf and asks the guy to lend her a ball. Tom doesn't understand what the girl is talking about, but without waiting for an answer, she hits the guy between the legs with a stick. After being lost in despair for a while, Tom made peace with Ron and formed a rap group with him called the Boys Without Balls. They became very popular. This ending also does not satisfy the main character. The girls stand in front of the guy in bewilderment, still waiting for an answer from him, while he plays out various scenarios. Jessica and Vanessa demand that the guy choose who he will dance with. Tom doesn't understand what to do because in any case he will die. Suddenly the guy's gaze falls on Edward, who was standing nearby. The main character chooses a security guard as a dance partner. Tom ends up getting the best ending by dancing with his bodyguard until dawn, while the girls stood by. The main character, sitting in the men's room, reflects on the difficulties of survival of harem kings in girls' games. Reflecting also on the events that happened to him earlier, Tom comes to the conclusion that he should avoid two people who bring him discomfort. His plans fail after the system is notified that he doesn't have enough points for graduation, which makes the guy suddenly remember about his studies. The system nearby does not understand Tom's worries, especially considering that he is rich and does not have to worry about his studies. The idea that rich people don't need to study is incomprehensible to Tom, but the system explains that the purpose of education is to make money. So if you have the money, education loses its value. Money is the main priority in this society. The wealthy achieve everything faster and easier. Being an uneducated rich ignoramus was not part of his plans. After all, Tom promised his dying mother that he would become a well-educated man. The system perceives the principles of the protagonist with condemnation and misunderstanding. However, the guy is already fired up with enthusiasm and promises himself to work harder. But the fiery speech is interrupted by the system's remark that Tom forgot to wipe his butt, which angers and embarrasses the hero. However, at the university, the hero's enthusiasm quickly evaporates after boring lectures. Studying never came easy to Tom. Seeing the guy's exhaustion, the system offers its help for points. For just 20 points, Tom can get a memory potion and a speed boost, which will make studying much easier. Seeing a short and easy way to solve the problems, Tom quickly agrees to the offer. The opportunity to become a genius without any effort evokes strong emotions in the guy. But the main character is interrupted by a classmate sitting behind him, who doesn't like the noise coming from Tom. But Michael's comment about the noise was irrelevant, because the couple hadn't started yet, which is what Tom was talking about. For Michael, studying comes first. He values every hour of the learning process, because the guy strives to become a real genius. Michael treats Tom with disdain and makes insulting remarks about his worthlessness. Tom can't just let humiliation come his way. The guy suggests having a competition. He claims that he is smarter than Michael and will surpass him in his studies. Having heard about the dubious competition between Tom and Michael, his classmates were skeptical about it, especially since the main character had a reputation as a local tyrant, and Michael as a master of knowledge. Such gossip affects the main character. The guy has principles according to which he does not intend to use his funds for such purposes. Michael takes the offer of a competition as a joke because he knows about his genius, to which the main character replies that he simply intends to compete with Michael. Michael has no choice but to agree because he is confident of his victory and hopes to humiliate Tom. The essence of the test is that after a week, each subject will take a test in class. The results will be determined on the basis of these tests. The loser will have to voluntarily withdraw from school. This punishment shocks the boys in the group, but Michael's cruelty is explained by the fact that he was in love with Jessica, who paid attention to Tom and not to him. Michael challenges Tom. The main character gets angry and says that he will definitely win in a week so that Michael doesn't get cocky. However, Tom says one thing and does another, and does not understand what is written in the textbook at all. The volume of tasks at hand drives the guy to despair, not to mention the fact that the hero must get around the school's smart guy. The system notices the guy's panic. She again comes up with an offer that will quickly solve the guy's problem. But for Tom, using elixirs is cheating, and he has no intention of using them. Tom's mother taught him from childhood that he should rely only on his own strength. If the guy uses elixirs, then he will not live up to her expectations. The system gets angry at Tom, calling him a fool. If Tom loses the competition, he will have to drop out of school, which will make his mother even angrier. So he is obliged to drink the elixir so as not to let her down. Realizing the prospect of losing, Tom agrees to take the elixir from the system. Tom's torment is interrupted by a beautiful girl who offers him tea. The protagonist is worried about why Jessica is not sleeping at such a late hour, to which she replies that she wants to encourage him in his studies. The main character is not at all the type to study, and Jessica's support upsets him even more. However, the girl believes that Tom's efforts will not be in vain, and the guy will definitely cope with everything. Jessica offers to sit with Tom, and the lovesick guy agrees. However, the girl's curvy figure distracts him from work. Tom quickly has to refuse because he doesn't think he's capable of studying next to a girl all that time. Jessica doesn't push herself and leaves the room. Tom is left alone with the elixir that beckons him. The guy will have to make a difficult choice. The main character is exhausted after intense preparation for school. He hadn't slept for the past week and had drunk a lot of energy drinks to continue studying, although he could have just taken the easy way out. But he decided to rely on his own efforts. The system thinks that Tom will definitely lose. A teacher, Mr. Paul, enters the office. His appearance causes tension in the group. Everyone immediately falls silent. For today's lesson, we had to read Francis Bacon's famous essay on the knowledge of the sciences. Mr. Paul is cruel to students who do not comply with his demands. On knowledge of the sciences is too long. It is impossible to remember it word for word. The teacher's demands are too high for college students. The boys suggest that Mr. Paul's cruelty may be caused by his loss of another game of chess, and the teacher just wants to vent his anger. Despite his fear and unpreparedness for a couple of his classmates, Michael is already ready to answer. The guy has a good reputation with Mr. Paul, who even sets him up as an example to the group. Michael does a flawless job of retelling Bacon's essay, quoting passages. His answer shocks his classmates. It's not for nothing that he is a master of studies. No one can compare to him. Mr. Paul praises Michael because he has learned the material well. However, the boy doesn't accept the praise, noting that there is someone in the class who can easily read this essay backwards. The genius Michael is talking about turns out to be Tom, who almost falls asleep during class. The guy has absolutely no idea where he is or what he's doing. There's emptiness in his head. Tom missed all of Mr. Paul's classes, and his appearance at today's class surprises the teacher. Mr. Paul asks Tom if he can really read an essay backwards, but the guy just falls asleep when the teacher asks him. Mr. Paul is completely out of his mind because of Tom's disrespect for his subject. The guy has no right to sleep right during class after missing all the lectures. The angry teacher decides to teach the main character a lesson and heads straight to his seat. Mr. Paul threatens Tom that if he doesn't read his essay backwards today, he will fail the class. But Tom just falls asleep, muttering under his breath that the teacher is an idiot. Mr. Paul, unable to stand such rudeness, swings a ruler to teach the guy a lesson, but Tom catches it with 2 fingers before she can hit him. The protagonist explains his behavior by saying that he was recuperating. However, Tom can now start reading. The guy read Francis Bacon's essay backwards flawlessly. Michael clearly didn't expect such a brilliant performance from Tom. Mr. Paul was also in shock. The reading was completed, and everyone in the class was amazed at Tom's knowledge. It was incredible. His classmates couldn't believe that Tom could be both rich and smart. Taking advantage of the opportunity, the main character couldn't help but tease the teacher. Confused, Mr. Paul praised Tom, noting that even he couldn't read the essay backwards. Michael was not prepared for such humiliation. Tom showed his true strength. This time it was a draw, but Michael decided to beat Tom at any cost in the next lesson. Their competition continued in English. The guys fought equally, not wanting to give in to each other. In chemistry, Tom and Michael turn into alchemists who test the power of their potions on each other. On the right, the guys are transported to the courtroom, where they prove laws and rules. In the story, Michael and Tom fought like samurai. Michael had no intention of losing to Tom, claiming that he was biting off more than he could chew. But Tom noted that he was doing just as well as the maester. Michael says that before these items become too simple, they might be able to play for real. In the afternoon, there is a math test that the boys are required to pass with the highest possible score. Anyone who gets a lower score will have to run 10 laps around the building with the word break written on the sign. Losing would be too humiliating for both of them. Not wanting to give in to Michael, Tom accepts his challenge. Tom's efforts were not in vain, and he is confident that he will write the math test with the highest score. However, the last task turns out to be too difficult. The guy was not ready for it. Mr. Smith, the math teacher, reports that the group has done a good job and he is ready to announce the results. All but one student failed the last question. It's no surprise that the genius who got the highest score turns out to be Michael. The guy is already anticipating the taste of victory, imagining Tom running around the building with a shameful sign. After so many battles, Michael is beside himself with joy at the long-awaited victory. He just can't help but gloat over Tom, reminding him of his punishment. Mr. Smith takes the boy's argument as a joke and tries to calm Tom down. However, the boy convinces the teacher, saying that this is his agreement with Michael. Tom accepts the loss with pride, because as a university student he cannot simply go back on his word. The protagonist notes that he believes that if Michael had lost, he would have done the same thing. The guy agrees with Tom, saying that he will also accept any punishment in case of loss. Unexpectedly for Michael, Tom asks him to carry out the punishment now. The guy doesn't understand why he should do the task for the loser, because he got the highest score. But Tom explains that whoever gets the highest score will be a loser. Michael's loss is explained by the fact that the last task cannot be solved. Michael, sensing something is wrong, attacks Tom, claiming that he simply cannot accept that someone is better than him. However, classmates also notice that the last task was impossible to solve. Seeing doubts in the group, Mr. Smith decides to double-check the assignment for errors. It turns out that one of the conditions of the task was indeed incorrect. This fact shocks Michael, who has already tasted victory. Tom notes that it is strange that Michael knew the correct answer to the wrong question. Michael, sensing that his deception may be about to be exposed, explains that he knew the answer simply because he is a genius. But this excuse clearly doesn't suit anyone, and Michael is being pelted with insults from all sides because of his deception. A respectable man enters the office, interrupting all the noise with his appearance. Mr. Smith, like the rest of those present, did not expect to see Mr. John now. It turns out that the teacher who suddenly appeared is Michael's uncle. The guy immediately begins to complain about Tom to his uncle, accusing the main character of his numerous absences and slander. However, Mr. John cuts off Michael's indignation, claiming that he knows how things are. His menacing appearance and his statement that he will sort everything out himself make Tom nervous. Hearing Mr. John's name, all the students start to tremble. Rumor has it that the man served in a special forces unit for several years and was nicknamed the Devil in a Suit. Who would have thought that this demon is Michael's uncle? It seems that it was thanks to him that the guy wrote the test with the maximum score. After learning about Michael and Mr. John's relationship, Tom realizes that he is close to victory. The teacher asks about Tom's absences. Absence from classes threatens the guy with expulsion. Michael mocks Tom, delighted that his uncle will finally kick the boy out of university. Mr. John is making a statement on behalf of the faculty given Tom's misconduct. To the surprise of everyone present, the guy will not be expelled. Tom also doesn't understand what he did to deserve such kindness from the teacher. But seeing Tom's lack of understanding, Mr. John explains his decision. During the last week, the main character attended all classes, studied hard, and passed all exams well. For these reasons, Tom will not be excluded. However, this is not yet a reason for pride. Tom will have to continue to study just as hard to achieve the same good results. Mr. John's appearance was deceptive. He did not look like the devil at all. Michael doesn't understand why Uncle John is not on his side, because they are related, and therefore the truth should be on his side. The guy believes that Tom should pay for his actions, and his uncle should help him achieve justice. Mr. John's patience is running out, and Michael is ready for his uncle to punish Tom as he deserves. However, the uncle's anger is directed not at Tom, but at Michael. The guy flies into the wall, feeling the full force of Mr. John's rage. Everyone present was shocked by the teacher's actions, and Tom decided that Mr. John really was a demon. Michael doesn't understand what caused his uncle's reaction, but Mr. John claims that the boy knows what he did wrong. The man knew Michael was using his computer to get answers. He doesn't understand how their family could raise a liar bastard like Michael. The boy's punishment does not end, and his uncle promises to punish him today, according to all the rules of their family. Michael, realizing what awaits him, is filled with horror. The protagonist feels relieved that he has been attending all his classes lately, because otherwise he would have received punishment. Suddenly, Tom receives a message from his classmate Shawn that there will be a class reunion at Lewis's hotel at 8 o'clock in the evening, which Tom absolutely must attend. Lewis's hotel is an extremely wealthy place, and Shawn is already waiting for Tom to arrive with a glass of wine. Someone calls out to Shawn, noting that the guy has been hanging around here for several hours. The girl who distracted the guy from his thoughts is called Zoe. She is also Tom's classmate. Zoe notices that the guy is definitely waiting for someone, and not just enjoying the view of the city. The girl realizes that Shawn can't forget that incident, and so he allowed Steve to call Tom. The boy's silence makes it clear that Clara has hit the nail on the head. Wendy, the girl Shawn liked, chose Tom over him, which hurt the guy's pride. Shawn is furious when he thinks about those two. He doesn't understand how a girl like Wendy could choose someone like Tom. Shawn can't just let it go and decides to take revenge on the main character. Tom feels noticeably nervous as he walks to the meeting. The guy remembers Wendy, who was the most beautiful girl in high school. He even had a secret crush on her, but never dared to confess his feelings to her. Tom remembers that everything is different now, and he is no longer that pale and weak boy. The main character is filled with enthusiasm. This time, he will not miss his chance to propose to the girl. Entering the building, he meets Wendy after so much time. However, before she could come to her senses, the girl crashed into Tom. After such sudden actions, she asks if the guy is okay. Tom and Wendy recognize each other and the romantic atmosphere between them returns. The guy notices that the girl has become even more beautiful over time. Wendy admits that she didn't recognize Tom at first, after which they start making small talk, and the guy remarks that the girl looks great today. Wendy was flooded with memories of their first meeting. The girl crashed into him just like she did today. Tom is glad that Wendy remembers everything, because it means that the event is important to the girl. Tom remembers that they also ate her bento. He also remembers that he wanted to say something. Tom was about to begin his speech about his feelings for Wendy. However, he is interrupted by Shawn, who opens the door right at the guy, immediately starting a conversation with Wendy. The girl, noticing what happened to Tom, immediately runs to find out how he is feeling. Shawn, filled with jealousy, declares that everyone is already waiting for Tom. The boy introduces Tom and Wendy to his friends. Shawn's friends have a negative attitude towards Tom, making fun of him in every possible way. The main character does not understand why. Instead of a party for classmates, there are only Shawn's stooges here. The guy understands that his friend is clearly up to something. Shawn's friends quickly separate Tom and Wendy. One of Shawn's 6, remembering only that Tom was once poor, shows him a table filled with various expensive dishes. The table is bursting with all sorts of delicacies. Shawn says that these luxurious dishes are ordinary for them, and he does not know if Tom will like them, hinting at the protagonist's poverty. Shawn's friend teases the guy that he can't choose because he's never tried anything like this before. Tom understands that these people want to humiliate him. Wendy scolds the boys for their mean attitude towards Tom. However, Shawn's friends say that the girl is too sensitive, and she shouldn't take everything to heart. Wendy is also winding herself up. Tom also reassures Wendy, saying that it is just a joke and should not be taken seriously. The guy can't let the girl get into trouble, and he'll take care of Shawn's friends himself. Tom's thoughts are interrupted by Shawn, who claims that he also thinks these jokes are inappropriate. Shawn wants to apologize and order Tom the best Australian lobster, deliberately emphasizing its high cost. But the main character replies to this that even his dog would not eat such a low-grade lobster. The room fell silent after this confession. No one really expected such a statement from Tom. Shawn's friends decided to make fun of Tom, sarcastically stating that his family can't even afford a dog, and that there's no point in pretending to be someone the guy is not. Barbed remarks fly from all sides at Tom. They think that the guy should not forget who he was, and that going to university does not make him a billionaire. All these phrases take the hero back to the past, where he couldn't even afford normal clothes, unable to bear the pressure from those around him. Tom calls the waitress, who must remove such low-quality dishes and take Tom's new order. The guy decides to show off his wealth and treat his classmates, but they still don't take the guy seriously, claiming that he can't be that rich and has simply bitten off more than he can chew. Shawn believes that the protagonist is once again trying to ruin his position with his stupid actions. While Tom orders the most expensive dishes, Shawn is already preparing a plan to ruin the guy's life. The waitress accepts all the wishes of the protagonist and leaves. All conversations are abruptly interrupted by Wendy, who is worried about something. The girl has something important to say to Tom. Taking the guy to a secluded place, she tries to reason with him, because it is not easy for him to earn such a lot of money, and he should not spend all his money to argue with such people. However, the guy reassures Wendy, claiming that she has misunderstood everything. But the girl thinks that the guy just wants to appear rich. Wendy supports Tom in everything, saying that he can be himself without any proof. To calm the worried girl down, Tom agrees to listen to her. Returning back to the hall, Tom declares that he was joking and that another order is not needed at all. This statement only confirms that the guys were right, and Tom is not rich at all, and they continue to gloat over him. However, despite the joy of his friends, Shawn is burning with jealousy. He cannot accept the fact that Wendy can pay attention to such a loser as Tom, and the guy considers their behavior simply ridiculous. Shawn believes that Wendy should belong only to him. When the waitress comes to confirm the order, Tom asks to cancel everything. But the conversation between the two is interrupted by Shawn. The guy claims that if Tom can't pay for all this, he will do it himself. Tom believes that all these statements will only bring trouble to Shawn. However, the guy has not finished speaking yet and intends to make another statement today. Shawn proposes to Wendy to marry him. These events shock Tom because it was he who wanted to propose to her today. Shawn's friends support him at such an important moment, stating that any girl would want to be with someone like him. Everyone tells Wendy to agree because they will be the perfect couple. But the girl is clearly not eager to marry Shawn. Seeing Wendy's doubts, Shawn says he knows the girl loved Tom in high school. If Wendy becomes his girlfriend, he is ready to arrange for Tom to work in his company, where he will receive a high salary. But by mentioning that the guy will be working as the head cleaner, he again makes Tom look like a laughingstock. Shawn's friends burst into laughter again. Tom should not hesitate to take such a lucrative offer, and is obliged to quickly thank Shawn for it. Wendy, seeing all this ridicule of the man she likes, agrees to take Shawn's ring. However, the girl has no intention of accepting the guy's proposal and throws the ring away. She had already said once in high school that she didn't like Shawn, and she would say it again. Wendy says she only loves Tom, so Shawn needs to give in quickly. The girl's love knows no bounds, and she is ready to do anything for Tom. The guy can't believe that everything that's happening isn't a dream. Tom is inspired by the thought that Wendy really loves him. Shawn cannot accept this state of affairs. He persuades the girl to accept his proposal, because with his status, Wendy will not need anything, and will definitely be happy. Shawn's friends support him, claiming that if there were a girl in his place, they would definitely accept the offer. But Wendy is adamant she is not ready to give in to the persuasion of others. The girl thinks that Tom is still better than Shawn. When they were in high school, Shawn was an excellent student and had a wealthy family behind him. So many people were in love with him. Wendy wasn't like the others. She didn't care about Shawn's status and wealth. She hung out with Tom, whom the guy despised the most. From then on, Shawn began to humiliate Tom and pester Wendy to be with him. Shawn doesn't pursue the girl because he likes her. The guy also lied about inviting them to a high school reunion, but in reality, Shawn just wanted to make fun of Tom. Realizing that his plan is about to collapse, Shawn is beside himself with rage. He can no longer tolerate the reproaches of the girl to whom he confessed his love a few minutes ago. The boy is overcome with rage and swings at Wendy. However, the attempt to hit the girl is cut short. Tom does not let the girl be offended. Such actions of Shawn cause disgust and contempt in the protagonist. Shawn doesn't understand when the guy managed to become so strong and brave. Their skirmish is interrupted by a man who unceremoniously bursts into the room. A cheeky young guy is indignant because someone dared to take over his room. The waitress tries to calm him down, saying that he shouldn't barge in like that, where there are already guests. But the guy doesn't want to hear anything, because this is his favorite hall. Shawn, seeing his friend Sid, who is above him in status, immediately changes and becomes helpful. However, Sid does not recognize Shawn, to which the guy justifies himself by saying that he was once lucky enough to have dinner with the guy's father. Sid recalls that his father said that he wanted to invest in Shawn, and if the guy wanted to continue collaborating with them, he'd better vacate the hall. But Shawn says he has a class reunion in the hall and can't just vacate the hall, to which Sid threatens that his father might not invest in the guy, and Shawn has to agree. Sid's attention suddenly switches to the beautiful Wendy. Compared to her beauty, his girlfriend didn't even come close. Believing that Wendy, like the others, is greedy for wealth, he invites her to watch a movie at his 800-meter villa. However, he is quickly interrupted by Tom, who is not happy with the fact that some rich kid is pestering his beloved. Sid immediately recognizes Tom and is filled with horror in a split second. The guy can't believe that the main character could be here too. Now Tom is alone at the head of the company, and he can crush Sid like a fly. Seeing Sid's fear, Shawn stands up for him, arguing that his friend should not be touched. However, Tom does not believe that they are really friends and asks Shawn who his friend is. Shawn claims that Tom will be scared to death after he finds out who his friend is. Sid is one of the major shareholders, Shawn's investor and also his best friend. Shawn's friends are amazed at Sid's coolness. The guy thinks he's standing up for Sid and definitely wants his approval. However, he gets hit instead. Shawn is thrown back by a sharp and powerful blow from his friend Sid. The guy doesn't consider Shawn his friend and doesn't intend to tolerate this circus any longer. Tom suddenly felt Sid's strong aura. Suddenly the guy starts to turn into someone, which surprises the main character even more. And, before Tom appears the Emperor's servant, who immediately begins to apologize to the main character for slander, and asks him to correct his mistakes. Having put an end to Shawn's silly performance, Sid starts a new one. The guy's behavior shocks Shawn's friends, because they clearly did not expect such an attitude towards Tom. Sid immediately apologizes to Wendy as well, calling her an empress. which flatters the girl greatly. But Tom still does not understand Sid's attitude. Shawn is also perplexed, claiming that Tom is not an emperor at all, but simply his poor classmate. But Sid quickly interrupts the guy, noting that he is thinking very narrowly. Shawn's poor classmate turns out to be the second largest shareholder. Tom is rich, young, handsome, and promising. This statement completely kills Shawn's friends, who previously didn't respect the guy. But Shawn still can't believe that a poor guy like Tom can be a shareholder in such a big company. Sid stands up for Tom, saying that Shawn has no right to slander his emperor. But the protagonist interrupts Sid, saying that he shouldn't use force against his classmate. Instead of brute force, having taken on the role of the emperor, Tom suggests simply confiscating Shawn's house. Sid takes this statement as a joke, but Tom gets annoyed when the guy doesn't take it seriously. Shawn doesn't understand the protagonist's impudence. This drama is interrupted by a phone call from Shawn. While the guy was nervously discussing something, his friends were already starting to worry that his house would really be taken away. But the news that was reported was much worse, because he went bankrupt. Classmates can't believe that because of one word from Tom, Shawn could lose his funds. Is the main character really the second largest shareholder of a rich company? Having learned about the main character's wealth, his former classmates immediately changed their attitude towards him, fawning over him in every possible way. But Shawn wasn't as positive about the guy because Tom had made him bankrupt and hadn't won over his girlfriend, so he wasn't going to just leave the whole situation. But Sid does not allow his emperor to be harmed, and is ready to protect him from the killer. Shawn, realizing his mistake, falls to his knees and immediately begins to ask Emperor Tom for forgiveness. The main character clearly did not expect such an outcome of events. Everything that happens looks more like a drama. Shawn is remorseful. He shouldn't have been so disrespectful to Tom and his Empress Wendy. Shawn deserves to die for such actions. The guy claims that he served Tom obediently for many years, but Tom does not remember this. The main character quickly gets bored with all this drama, and he refuses the role of the emperor in this ridiculous scene. Tom says that from now on all their grievances are forgotten, and Shawn better not catch his eye again. However, Sid and Shawn are not going to give up so quickly. They hope for Tom's mercy, and that in the future he will make them as rich as he is. Tom gets angry and drives everyone away. Money talks, so everyone leaves quickly to avoid angering rich Tom. Only Tom and Wendy are left alone. Since everyone has left, Wendy also thinks that she should go back. But Tom has other plans. He wants to tell the girl something. The guy asks Wendy again if what she said earlier was true. At first the girl doesn't understand what Tom is talking about. But suddenly, she remembers that not long ago she confessed her love for Tom to everyone, and this makes her blush. Unable to cope with her embarrassment, Wendy tries to justify herself by saying that she was simply angry at Shawn, which is why she said it. But Tom interrupts the girl, remembering his past and the time when he had nothing. He admits that he did not dare to say just one sentence. But now everything has changed. When the guy has gained courage, he is finally ready to confess. However, the girl interrupts Tom, claiming that she is not mentally ready for this. The guy doesn't understand Wendy's sudden change of mood, and even less where she's going. A guy hurries through the busy streets of Tokyo in the hope of finding a girl. Wendy disappeared in the blink of an eye. She is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, the guy hears the girl's voice again, demanding that he not approach her. The guy understands that something is wrong, and he needs to run to help immediately. Wendy is scared. She doesn't want anyone to touch her. The girl is surrounded by guys. She wants to call for help, but they don't let her. They claim that they are good guys, but you can't tell from their appearance. One of them starts pestering Wendy, and she tries to call for help. However, this shady guy claims that this will not help the girl, and no one will come to her aid, even if she loses her voice. At the same moment, the guy gets punched in the face. The blow was so strong that he flew far to the side, not having a chance to get close to the girl again. Tom immediately came to Wendy's aid when he learned that she was in trouble. The guy carefully asks the girl if she is okay. Fortunately, he made it in time and nothing happened to Wendy. However, everything does not end so simply, and the guy comes to his senses after a strong blow. This whole situation makes the guy angry and he takes out a knife, threatening Wendy and Tom. The girl warns Tom that the guy has a cold weapon, and that the best solution in this situation is to run. However, such a trifle does not frighten the main character, because they are just a bunch of losers, and it will be easy to deal with them. However, the red-haired guy is not going to give up and attacks Tom. There is an energy in this knife that Tom did not expect. The power of this weapon is incredibly great, so much so that the main character has to react quickly to avoid being hit. He cuts through an entire wall, and the protagonist comes to the conclusion that this little bastard is definitely not an ordinary person. The attacking guy, after Tom dodged his blow, comes to the conclusion that the guy is also an unusual person. To ensure that Tom no longer poses a threat to the red-haired guy, he must be gotten rid of. Without wasting a minute, the guy makes another maneuver. To prevent trouble, Tom grabs Wendy and tells her to run. But that guy's too crazy to just let a couple go. He runs towards them with wild eyes, holding his powerful weapon in his hand. The knife instantly cuts through everything in front of it, creating a small explosion. But something is clearly wrong. The attacker does not understand why such a blow has so few consequences. Tom quickly managed to react, picking up the unconscious Wendy. The knife blow didn't even touch Wendy and Tom, because the guy drank the speed elixir to save himself and his beloved. Tom carefully puts the girl down to continue the fight with the guy. He is already ready to strike again. He doesn't understand how Tom was able to avoid his 3-second knife strike several times. It seems the main character's speed is really good. But Tom interrupts the guy, claiming that he is simply too slow. This statement really hurts the guy's ego. The red-haired guy thinks he's the fastest guy in town. He swings again, but misses again. The main character ends up right behind him, not giving the guy a chance to come to his senses. Another blow. The aggressive guy promises to cut the main character into small pieces. But his speed, compared to Tom's speed, is simply insignificant. During the time that the guy spends on punches, the main character manages to take a selfie, get bored, and even cook noodles. At that very moment, that same noodle flies straight into the attacker's face. The broth with the noodles was very spicy, and the guy is in pain from the burns. Tom dared to mock the boy, which made him even more angry. The red-haired guy is helped by his 6, who declare that they will show Tom their true strength. But this doesn't scare the main character at all, because his speed is much greater than theirs. Tom's power is so great that he can easily stop time. Now the main character can properly mock the offenders. Tom wipes the booger from his nose at the leader, then replaces his knife with a cactus. He places the other 2 guys closer to each other, also handing them cacti. Next, Tom adjusts the angle at which they hold their new weapons. Instead of a cactus, he hands the other guy a metal pipe. The last surprise will fall right on the guy's head. With a snap of the fingers, time starts running again, and the guys come to life in the most ridiculous poses. They are absolutely devastated by their loss. Tom can't help but make a sarcastic remark in such a situation. The 3 brothers had better slow down to avoid getting into the same trouble themselves. Wendy comes to her senses when the fight ends. Tom is very concerned about her condition. The girl is very embarrassed. She is grateful that the guy came to her aid in time. Tom, seeing the girl's embarrassment, also blushes. And having chosen the best time in his opinion, the guy confesses his love. Wendy blushes even more. Despite the fact that the guy had already tried to confess his love to the girl, she was still surprised to hear it. Tom has liked Wendy for a long time. He hopes that the girl will give him a chance. But Wendy is being mean, saying that he can't just confess his feelings, because first they need to get to know each other better. Tom understands the hint. He takes the girl by the hand, promising to show her a place where she would understand what he was like in his youth. Night covers the entire city. It hides many secrets and stories. The city prison, a place for a wide variety of criminals, concealing different fates and their secrets. Ben and Bob, father and son, are also sitting in this prison. Bob reminds his father that he promised that a mysterious organization should save them tonight. Ben remembers his promise and promises his son that the organization is reliable and can definitely be relied on. This organization is very unusual. Some of its members can breathe fire, some can control water, some are super powerful, and some have invulnerability of body. They are super people. Since they took on the case, Ben and Bob will definitely be able to get out of prison. Bob asks his father if those people have the gift of clairvoyance and the ability to be invisible. Ben wonders how the guy knew about this. Did he really have time to tell him that too? But Bob interrupts Ben, claiming that he has already seen all this nonsense in comics, and that he is a fool if he believes in such things in reality. But Ben scolds his son, saying that he is ungrateful, and that it is because of the boy that they ended up in this place. If Ben hadn't ordered Bob to deal with Tom, this wouldn't have happened, and it's Ben's fault. However, their arguments are interrupted by someone's footsteps. Did the guards hear them? However, it is not security at all, but a beautiful girl in a tight suit, who assumes that their target must be somewhere around here. Ben and Bob are afraid that if the guards see that they are still awake, they will definitely get angry, and therefore they need to quickly hide under the blanket so that they are not seen. All this time, the girl looks at them as if they were idiots whom she still needs to use. With one movement of her fingers, she lifts the 2 into the air, and Bob and Ben, out of fear, begin to call for the security they were afraid of a couple of minutes ago. However, the girl calms them down, claiming that all the people in this prison have passed out. Indeed, all the staff and prisoners are fast asleep. Ben is happy that the girl came to save them and that he was right. Bob thanks his father for taking care of everything and finally getting them out of this place. However, the girl interrupts their happiness, saying that she did not come to save them. She showed up to take one thing from Ben and Bob. Bob jokes that the girl wants to take his virginity, to which she replies that no one wants that. Ben starts to get angry, saying that's not why he ordered them and that if she doesn't get them out of here, he'll write a bad review. However, the girl does not want to waste her precious time on such conversations. She activates the control ability, ordering her to capture the men and erase all memories of Tom. Ben and Bob are scared by a tentacle monster that is pulling them somewhere. After the magical entity disappears, releasing Bob and Ben, there is nothing left in their heads. They only mumble unconnected words. The girl expected this outcome of events. She concludes that there is definitely something special about Tom. At the same time, Tom and Wendy are walking along the city streets. The girl took a beef pie to eat, which she definitely liked. Tom says that before, when he had no money, he often took these pies. Continuing his story about the past, the guy shows a dilapidated house, saying that he lived in it in high school. And next to it there was a hot breakfast shop, the boss of which often treated Tom to buns. Uncle Peter, in rags, passed by, still owing Tom 50 cents. The girl laughs at the guy's stories, to which he asks if he is really wrong. But Wendy explains that the whole way Tom was the only one talking like a child, and she thinks it's cute. Tom feels embarrassed that the girl might be tired of listening to him, but she convinces the guy of this, claiming that she is genuinely interested. Suddenly, Tom is called by an old woman whose voice is familiar to him. This old lady, Megan, is the local gossip in the area. She noticed that there was a pretty girl with a good character and manners next to Tom, but the guy denies that Wendy is not his girlfriend. But Aunt Megan had already started asking about the wedding, the house, the children, and family life. Tom, unable to withstand this interrogation, quickly runs away with Wendy by the hand, saying at the end that he is going to save the earth from monsters. Megan noticed that the guy seemed to have seen a ghost, not realizing that someone was standing behind her. This someone was looking for Tom, and easily found him in this area. Also watching the couple is Clara, a girl who has recently been in prison. She notices that there are too many people around for her plan, and she could easily be exposed. Clara hears a car pull up behind her, and a beautiful blonde gets out. The girl emerges from the sports car, not alone, but with a fat guy who claims that a ride in such a car in this alley is more exciting. Seeing this strange couple, Clara comes up with a new plan. Tom and Wendy continue their walk after escaping from the old lady. They see a poster for the movie Toilet Warrior, Hacker Extraordinaire. Wendy immediately recognizes this film and is very happy to see it again in the cinema, because she already watched it as a child. Tom, seeing the girl's interest, asks what the film is about. The girl explains that the film is about a warrior who used a plunger as a weapon to protect a princess from a mysterious group of assassins. Tom says it sounds quite interesting and invites Wendy to watch it together at the cinema. However, suddenly the system, telling him about danger, invades the guy's life again. Tom doesn't understand what the system is saying, but it continues to claim that the user is in danger and needs to escape. The protagonist still doesn't understand what the system means and asks to be more clear, while a sports car is rushing towards them. Wendy quickly notices the danger the system was talking about and yells at Tom to run away. When the collision is inevitable, the guy sees a car rushing towards him. At the wheel of the sports car is Clara, who is already saying goodbye to Tom. However, the guy still manages to dodge at the very last moment, avoiding the blow. Wendy is worried about Tom because he is very dear to her. However, the guy reassures her, saying that he is fine. But it's too early to relax because the car turns sharply towards Tom. Clara notices that the guy managed to dodge, but it's even better for the girl because she still has the opportunity to have fun with him. Tom is still in shock. He was almost hit by a car, but the system explains that it was not an accident, and someone wants to kill Tom. The main character does not understand why they want to kill him, because he did nothing wrong. But the system says that the girl is not an ordinary killer. She specializes in killing superhumans. Tom doesn't understand what kind of superhumans these are, to which he receives the answer that the guy himself is a superhuman. The car catches up with Tom again, and the main character asks the system for some kind of props quickly. But the system says that the girl cannot be dealt with using simple props. Tom can only use sealed weapons, and the system hands the main character an artifact of justice from the cursed goddess, a plunger. Tom clearly didn't expect this from an important weapon. He took this plunger as a mockery from the system, threatening to cleanse the system's brains, but it claims that this is not an ordinary plunger, but an artifact of a cursed goddess. While they were arguing, the car almost ran over them. Tom has no choice but to use a plunger. The car is flying at full speed straight at the main character, and the only thing he has is a strange weapon from the system. But Tom does not lose hope that this will help him survive and win. Suddenly, the same cursed goddess whose artifact is in Tom's possession appears. The bright trace that results from the goddess's appearance blinds Clara. Tom is also blinded by this light, but he notices that this thing actually works. The gas in the car stops working. The car stops right in front of Tom. Apart from this, almost nothing remains of the car. Only the wheels, steering wheel, and seat. The whole situation shocks Clara. She didn't expect her plan to turn out like this. Tom is also surprised. Is this really the capability of this plunger? In such a comical situation, Tom can't help but joke that the girl was cursed by a plunger. All this really angered Clara. How dare the guy joke about her? She promises to kill Tom again. Wendy, noticing that the situation will not lead to anything good, tries to take the guy away. But Clara, noticing that they are about to escape, stops their attempt by using her abilities again. Tentacles grow around Tom and Wendy, blocking all escape routes. Wendy does not believe that what is happening is real, and assumes that it is all a science fiction film. But Clara tells the girl that this is far from science fiction. Everything that is happening is nothing more than a horror movie. Wendy grabs one of the tentacles, separating the pair. Clara found Tom's weak spot by taking the girl from him, who would not be easy to free. Tom has power, and Clara demands that he use it to win. But the main character does not understand what kind of power the girl is talking about. Clara investigated and found out that Tom used a gas wave to defeat the opponents, and Tom had just stopped the car at high speed. The protagonist realizes that the girl perceives the power of the system as his own. If Tom fails to fulfill Clara's conditions, his girlfriend will suffer. Clara wasn't bluffing. Wendy snapped her fingers and the monster's tentacles tightened their grip. The girl asks the worried Tom to save her. The protagonist is determined to defeat Clara at any cost. The girl notices that Tom has summoned a very weak flow of power. It seems he is weakened. It doesn't matter how weak a guy is as long as he has strength. Tom must die, and Clara uses her new ability. Seeing the girl's hostile attitude and her reception, the guy gets scared, covering his face with his hands. However, the attack does not reach Tom. A hole appears right under Clara's feet, which Tom informs her about. Clara accuses the protagonist of meanness, because he stole the manhole cover right under her. The guy understands that the cause of these events is his almighty plunger. Wendy, who was released by the tentacles, appears behind Tom and asks about the main character's condition. The tentacles disappeared after the woman fell into the sewer. Thanks to the plunger, Tom saved himself and Wendy. He is so happy that he is ready to kiss it. However, the battle does not end, and Clara's hand appears right from the sewers. The girl did not expect that Tom would dare to deceive her. She is once again filled with hatred for the main character. Clara simply cannot abandon her mission and not kill Tom. But at that very second, she is hit by a car. Then the girl gets hit right in the face by a ball. The evil dog also decided to harm Clara for her actions. And finally, the girl is finished off by a weight weighing 50 kilograms. Clara spins and jumps with her eyes closed, after which the girl slips on a banana peel and falls into the sewer again. Tom, seeing this whole picture, comes to the conclusion that the curse of the goddess is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. However, Wendy does not relax. Unlike Tom, she assumes that this crazy woman can get out of there again, and they should leave. But Tom calms the girl down, saying that this time, Clara will not get out. But no matter, right behind the main character, Clara flies up from the sewers. The girl says that she will never give up, and if she can't beat Tom, she will lick his ass. Clara touched the guy to the depths of his soul with her persistence. The girl uses the ability to load maximum power, and tentacles appear behind her again. These disgusting things are pointed towards Tom. Clara goes completely crazy, ordering the tentacles to crush the protagonist for her. But Tom thinks he'd rather die than let these things touch him. The guy asks the goddess for help again, and right in front of his nose, the tentacles stop. Clara doesn't understand what caused her power to stop. The girl suggests that the reason may be in her bracelet. Perhaps it broke, blaming the logistics staff for this. Tom also notices that something is wrong with Clara's device. Perhaps it is also due to the goddess's curse. The girl's bracelet makes some strange sounds and vibrations. Finally, her tentacles begin to move again, and the girl orders them to crush Tom again. But instead of the guy, the tentacles capture their mistress, not giving her a chance to move. Her power attacked the wrong person. The girl demands that the tentacles not touch her. But they don't stop, causing the girl even more discomfort. All this time, Toma watches as the entity stretches the girl in the most revealing poses. The protagonist finds watching Clara a fascinating activity. Wendy notices that her boyfriend is looking where he shouldn't, reproaches him for this, but he quickly hurries the girl out of there. Clara, seeing everything, understands that Tom is about to run away. The girl can't get trapped by this useless thing. After she is freed from this ability, she appears before Tom and Wendy again. Clara wonders how dare Tom play with her, but the boy notices that she was playing with herself. Unable to bear such humiliation, the girl swings at Tom. But the guy distracts her attention by saying that the police are here. But behind there is only a fairy child who promises to turn the girl into a pig. While Clara is distracted, Tom grabs Wendy's hand and runs away. But the guy is stupid if he thinks he can run away so easily. Clara's body has long been rebuilt. Her speed and strength are much greater than those of ordinary people. The girl is so fast that even lightning is no problem for her. Wendy and Tom will not be able to escape from her hand. But suddenly a police car appears in front of the girl. It was so unexpected that the girl didn't have time to react and was knocked down. The police officers who noticed the girl who had been hit get out of the car. Tom recognizes Police Captain Kick, as does Captain Tom himself. Without hesitation, the protagonist reports that this woman tried to kill him, and that she must be captured immediately. But the girl decides that this police is another trick of the guy. Clara attacks Tom, claiming that she is not stupid enough to fall for this trick again. But the girl is wrong again. Clara's attack is stopped before she can harm the boy. The girl is threatened by a police officer with a gun in his hand. Clara is surrounded and demanded to surrender immediately. Even though the police are not afraid of Clara, if they find out her identity, it will be quite problematic. The girl is ordered to put her hands behind her head and kneel down. But a new trick is brewing in Clara's head that can save her. Once loaded, the energy shoe's maximum speed will reach 180 miles. The girl quickly takes off from the spot so that no one has time to figure out what happened. Realizing that the girl had escaped, the police began shooting with pistols. But Clara is so fast that even bullets can't catch up with her. The police officer can't believe she's able to dodge bullets. The girl only says after them that they are just a bunch of dirty cops who will never be able to catch her. In response to such statements, the captain gives the order to get the secret weapon. His assistant takes out a bazooka, surprising Tom. The bullet quickly reaches its target in the form of Clara. After the collision, an explosion occurs. This time Clara is definitely defeated. The police officer reports to the captain that the target has been knocked out, to which he receives orders to clean up and take the target into custody. Tom remarks on the coincidence that they met Captain Kick again and thanks him for saving them. But he puts an end to the pointless conversations, claiming that he has to ask the guy something. The captain wonders why this group of strangers is pursuing the hero. Tom doesn't understand what group of aliens Kick is talking about. But the captain explains that it is a mystical dark organization. It consists of people who have abilities far beyond those of ordinary people, and they also have high-tech precision weapons. The sole purpose of this organization is to hunt and kill people with superpowers. Tom realizes that he is the target of such a terrible organization. The main character pretends to be a fool, not knowing what is being discussed. Does the captain really know about the system? However, Kick says he doesn't care and he's not going to ask Tom. Having completed his work, the captain leaves. Jessica calls Tom, and at the same time, Wendy is very jealous of the guy. Jessica reports that something is wrong and that there appears to be a thief in the house. When the girl was in the shower, she heard the sound of breaking glass. Someone must have broken the window and climbed inside. While Jessica is talking to Tom, there is someone standing behind her. Suddenly, a woman's scream is heard on the phone, which seriously scares the guy. Wendy realizes that something is wrong. Tom needs to get home urgently and Wendy is going to go with him. The couple quickly tries to find a taxi. The captain notices that it looks like Tom has become a target for another team as well. Predicting trouble, Kick gives the order to immediately inform the action group so that they head to Tom's villa if something happens. A special forces group with powerful weapons moves to the scene. Tom's house stands under cover of night, so you can't tell that anything could have happened there. Tom and Wendy are sitting in the bushes right in front of the house, waiting for something. The girl asks why they don't just go inside, but the protagonist notices that it's dark in the house, and besides, it will all be over if the bad guys attack them in the dark. The guy prides himself on his caution and maturity, but Wendy is skeptical about Tom. But in reality, the guy just doesn't know how to get inside and asks the system for help, to which it gives the guy special glasses. Tom puts on his glasses, glad that he found a way out of the situation. But the glasses are not what the guy expected to see. Tom looks at large breasts, and the system warns about the detection of an unknown weapon, danger, D. The main character clearly enjoyed the spectacle. Wendy, noticing that the guy has a nosebleed, worries about him, but he says that he is just a little sick. The lenses were too close. That's why Tom had that angle. Now everything is fine. The main character sees Jessica and the bad guy in the house. He has a gun in his hand, a similar powerful weapon used by Clara. Tom, seeing that Jessica is in danger, immediately runs into the house, and Wendy follows him. Jessica doesn't understand what's going on, asking the attacker what he's going to do. The bad guy that Tom imagined turns out to be a girl, and she demands information from Jessica about the guy's location. But she doesn't have to wait long for an answer, because Tom is right behind her with a brick and a plunger in his hands. The guy intends to hit the criminal who broke into his house. However, the girl gets ahead of Tom, kicking him right in the face. Seeing the girl's flexibility and the way she delivers a punch, one can assume that she has undergone special training. The girl's blow was so strong that the guy flew back. The brick he wanted to beat the girl with flies into the switch, and the plunger goes straight into the hero's head. Jessica is worried about the well-being of the young gentleman who was hurt while trying to save her. Wendy also does not remain indifferent to Tom. Both girls run up to the main character, worried about his injuries during the fall. But after they find themselves next to the guy, they notice each other. The girls don't have time to start the investigation, as the one who attacked Tom intervenes, clarifying the guy's identity. She thought that a person who is the target of a group of aliens must be, at the very least, powerful. But in the end, it turned out to be some kind of loser. Having come to his senses, Tom covers the girls with himself, so that if anything happens, they won't get hurt. The guy doesn't understand who the girl standing in front of him is. Could it really be she who tried to kill him earlier? Jessica tries to tell Tom something, but he tells her not to be afraid of anything. The guy will protect the girl at any cost. But this is not what the girl wanted to hear. Jessica still wants to ask her question. She asks about the girl and why Tom brought her home so late. Tom didn't expect such a question. He was clearly stupid when he brought Wendy, especially when Jessica was home. Wendy also wonders why Jessica is in Tom's house without clothes, and even calls him sir. Girls want to know what kind of relationship he has with them. Tom realizes that this is the end for him. The guy tries to shift his attention to the girl who broke into his house. He claims that he needs to focus on her for the sake of his lives. But Jessica and Wendy don't give up. They want to know the truth. Tom definitely won't get off the topic, and the excuse that she's just a sister won't work. But their quarrel is interrupted by a pistol shot. Sensing danger, the girls lag behind the main character. The girl with the gun is Bella. She says she doesn't have time to watch them play out this damn love triangle. Bella came to warn Tom. She reports that someone is going to kill him. This news horrifies Jessica and Wendy. Tom asks if the girl is accidentally talking about a group of aliens, to which she is surprised that the guy knows about them. The main character says that a group of aliens sent a killer after him, but he quickly dealt with them. Tom is proud of himself. He claims that they will never kill him. Bella, quickly finding herself behind the guy, just smirks, saying that it will be very easy to kill the guy. Tom didn't expect the girl to be behind him so quickly. Bella says that with the guy's current abilities, they really want to kill him. They will hunt Tom at any cost. However, if the guy knows about this, then let him take care of himself. He and Bella will see each other again. Tom wants to know who the girl is and why she wanted to warn him. But suddenly the guy feels something. The first group of special forces appears directly above him. Then the second team flies out of the window and also finds itself in position. The third team, knocking down the door, arrives at the scene. All the teams surround Bella. Despite the fact that the girl is surrounded, she shows indifference and arrogance with her whole appearance. In this whole crowd, Bella recognizes Captain Kick. The man looks cool among the Special Forces group. Captain Kick also recognizes the girl and asks how she dared to appear in the city. Kick orders Bella to be captured immediately. But the girl just disappeared, leaving only her clothes. Tom was surprised by Bella's disappearance, but for the captain it was not the first time. They again allowed her to escape through teleportation. Tom assumes that if her clothes are here, then she teleported completely naked, imagining her image in detail. But Captain Kick interrupts the guy's perverted thoughts. Tom asks the captain how he ended up there. Was he really following him? To which Kick does not deny anything. The man claims that fortunately for Tom, he followed the guy, otherwise he would have already said goodbye to life. But Tom doesn't understand what all this is about, because the girl didn't want to kill him. But Kick only talks about the guy's naivety. Bella is a most wanted cold-blooded criminal. She didn't kill Tom just because he might be useful to her in the future. Tom certainly didn't expect to hear that about the girl. Captain Kick isn't done yet. He advises the guy to get rid of the thing behind him as quickly as possible. Tom claims that there is nothing behind him and that he shouldn't joke like that. And the system next to him is indignant that it is not some kind of thing, but a spending system. The captain just says that there are things that the guy is better off not getting involved in, and there are people who are beyond his capabilities. Kick warned Tom that he must accept the consequences of his actions. The police officers are returning back. Tom is tense about the words the man said to him. Kick's assistant asks him if Tom will throw this thing away. But the man knows that Tom will definitely not leave this system, and they can only continue to protect the guy. His employee asks why he convinced Tom then, if he knows that the guy will refuse. Captain Kick replies that he simply doesn't want anyone else to die in vain while looking at the starry sky. After all the events, the main character is bored, sitting on the couch. He thinks about everything that happened. The guy wonders what other group and supernatural forces, everything that is happening is definitely some kind of nonsense. Jessica asks if the gentleman is okay, and can she make him a cup of tea? Wendy says that maybe it's worth letting Captain Kick protect the guy. Tom realizes that the girls are worried about him. The guy thinks that they don't need to worry. Besides, they shouldn't be involved in dealing with alien groups. In fact, Tom has already figured out how to deal with them. The main character quickly goes to his room to rest, and the girl advises the same, but Wendy wants to ask the guy something. However, she doesn't make it in time, and Tom quickly runs away from her. Tom doesn't look as calm as he wanted to appear to the girls. The situation with groups of aliens makes the guy panic. In fact, he has no idea how to deal with them. The only thing he can do is pretend that he is good at it. The system agrees that the guy is indeed useless. This group managed to scare him. Tom blames the system for everything, because without it, they wouldn't have attacked him. But the system is offended by such statements, because the guy chose it himself, and all responsibility lies with him. Tom claims that if he had known what awaited him, he would never have agreed to this. The guy does not want to die, and would rather continue to live as a loser. However, it is impossible to abandon the system, and Tom would be better off thinking about how to deal with a group of aliens in order to survive. The protagonist understands that the system is right, and he must take responsibility and deal with everything. Tom says that Bella was right, and he will be killed quickly, but the system reminds him that the girl said something else. As long as the system levels up, there is still a chance. The guy asks if he can really rely on the system's abilities to deal with this group, to which he receives a positive answer. All rewards for system updates are not just decorations, but powerful artifacts that can increase the hero's combat abilities. There are also various combat props that can be exchanged for an update. Tom demands a new task. He agrees to everything. But not everything is so simple, and the mission does not mean that the task will appear immediately. The guy is called by Jessica, who has something to tell him. Tom tells the girl that he is busy now, but she quickly reports that the girl the guy came with has left. Tom didn't expect such news and was very worried. Jessica hands over the letter that Wendy gave her before she left. In the letter, the girl wrote that she was leaving. She was unhappy, because her body did not allow her to be near him. But the girl only wanted happiness for the guy with Jessica. Wendy regretted that she would not watch the concert with Tom. Her time was up. Tom assumes that the girl is terminally ill. The guy needs to find Wendy quickly. Jessica wants to go with him. Tom asks the system to find Wendy's location, to which he receives a remark from the system that he wanted to get rid of her a couple of minutes ago. The guy asks for help. In exchange, he is ready to earn as many points as he can. The system starts searching for a girl. Wendy's location quickly becomes known to the system, and Tom asks for information to be provided quickly. The system responds that the girl went to Vanessa's concert alone. This fact shocks the guy. At the headquarters, a man in uniform runs towards a group of aliens. He reports to the chief that signs of life have appeared from number 6. The report is received by the screen with the system. A man appears on this screen and tells the man to remember to keep an eye out. A man in uniform makes contact using a special device on his hand. A three-dimensional image of a guy appears, reporting that number 6 has disappeared while on a mission to arrest Tom. The man on the screen responds to the report that the dignity of the organization cannot be provoked. The group member says he will immediately send temporary assassination team number 9 to follow them. The man gets consent from the head. At the same time, people gathered for the concert, admiring the artist. A solid white car parks in the crowd of people. The wind from the car lifts the girls' dresses and blows away the bald man's wig. Tom runs out of the car with Jessica and a black security guard. But the main character is stopped by a group of guys who have gathered for a concert. They demand that Tom stand in line like the others. The guard and Jessica are worried that Tom was hit, but the guy is fine. He claims the boys forced him to play big. While throwing money around, Tom shows a photo of Wendy on his phone. The main character will pay $1 million to the person who finds the girl. The guy's money changed the opinion of those present about him, and they are already ready to do anything for a reward. Everyone comes up with their own theory about where the girl was seen, and a fight begins. Tom has come up with some new idea, which he discusses with the security guard. The black man understood the hero's plan and was ready to follow it. The guard shouts that he saw a girl in the toilet. The boys, hearing a statement that could help them get a reward, are distracted from the fight. They quickly rush to the place indicated by the guard. However, the booth was occupied. There was a beautiful girl in the toilet who clearly didn't expect someone to burst in on her. The girl in the booth is not the Wendy people are looking for. A scream from a girl whose room has been invaded is heard from the toilet. Meanwhile, everyone is busy. Tom, Jessica, and the guard quickly leave. On tiptoe, before anyone notices the disappearance of the heroes, they go to the concert. Tom, Wendy, and the security guard get into the concert without having to wait in line, and the next goal is to find Wendy. Everyone in the room is crazy about Vanessa. Fans are crazy about the artist. They have prepared many posters with her. The girls in the audience are shouting about their love for the singer. A lot of fans came to the concert. Tom did not expect so many people. They definitely won't find a girl in such a crowd. The main character is confused. He didn't think that so many fans would gather at the concert. Jessica suggests asking Vanessa for help, since it's her concert. The main character likes this idea and heads straight to the singer. Tom released it so that people would run away, and they could easily leave the crowded hall. Vanessa's fans have already gathered in the luxurious room, having learned that the artist has been invited as a guest to today's concert. The girl herself appears in the hall and tells her colleague Jack that she doesn't like him. But the guy doesn't believe it, because no girl has ever refused him, and the artist says this to attract his attention. The fans standing nearby go crazy over Jack. They consider him and Vanessa the perfect couple and singing gods. Vanessa is adamant. She says that there is already a person she is in love with. However, Jack does not believe her and asks to show this lucky guy. Otherwise, he will not give up. Suddenly, Tom bursts in on them, looking for the singer. Jack, who is knocked down, does not like this situation. It seems that their drama will not end there. Vanessa recognizes Tom and wonders why the guy is here. But the main character is in a hurry and does not want to start small talk with the girl, so he gets to the point and asks for help. Tom's sudden appearance angered Jack. He took the guy's intrusion as an attempt to flirt with his lady. Tom doesn't understand what all the complaints are about and asks Vanessa if this brainless clown dressed as a green turtle really came to help her with the concert, to which Jack promises to kill Tom. However, the phrase about his appearance made Jack think, and he began to imagine himself as a green turtle. The comment about his colleague made the girl laugh. Vanessa explains that Jack is the god of singing, and he recently started hitting on her, which really irritates the girl. An angry Jack, boasting that he is the god of singing, declares that it is too late for Tom to kneel and ask for forgiveness. But Tom, instead of apologizing, offers the guy a competition, and if he loses, he will no longer show himself in front of Vanessa. The main character understands that he will have to first help Vanessa, so that later she will help him. Jack takes the guy's challenge as a joke. Would Tom really dare to compete with the god of singing? Vanessa begins to dissuade the main character because Jack is famous for his beautiful singing. The girl claims that even she is not his competitor, not to mention Tom. But the main character reassures the girl, claiming that he will definitely win Jack. Jack agrees, promising to humiliate the protagonist in front of Vanessa so that he will feel ashamed. While the heroes discuss their differences, the people are already eagerly awaiting the appearance of Vanessa. The singer comes out on stage, greeting the audience, and the hall is filled with cries of admiration and love for the girl. Vanessa also loves her fans very much for listening to and supporting her work. To thank those present for coming, the girl invited Jack to today's performance. The guy is also loved by the public. They listen to his songs without getting tired even after 10,000 years. Vanessa also reveals that they have invited a special guest to compete against Jack, and she hopes that fans will enjoy the challenge. The public does not believe that anyone can compare with the god of singing Jack and wants to listen only to him. Jack, hearing people's admiration for his singing, tries to wipe the protagonist's nose, to which the latter asks him to shut up. The singer is confident of his victory, claiming that if Tom competed with him, he would definitely lose and be disgraced in front of so many people. But Tom just laughs at his statement, saying that they will still see the outcome of this battle. Vanessa begins to introduce the singing god to the audience before he comes out. However, before the girl can finish speaking, her microphone is intercepted by Jack, who asks if the people miss him. The girl considers the guy's behavior to be rude and calls Jack himself a narcissist. The girls in the audience are delighted with the singer and are incredibly happy about his appearance, shouting out words of love. Having heard what he wanted, Jack begins performing his first song, entitled Wild Wolf Disco. Many people really like this song and everyone is happy to hear it live at a concert. Even pensioners are crazy about Jack and his songs. After the guy's performance, you can continue to live for a few more days. Jack and Vanessa perform. Tom waits in the dressing room with Jessica and a security guard. Jessica acknowledges Jack's talent and asks if Tom can definitely beat him, and the guard states that the guy simply has to destroy the singer. However, unlike his friends, Tom is not worried at all and says that he can definitely beat the singer. But first, Tom needs to prepare. The main character's confidence was based on the system. The guy is sure that she definitely has something that will help him sing well. The system knew that this would happen, Without it, the guy would fight with 5 scumbags, and it begins to look for the right thing that can help Tom win. After rummaging through a bunch of things, the system finally gets the right one, handing it to Tom. This is a ghost hammer. As long as it is near the guy, he will be able to sing any most beautiful song at will, reaching the depths of human souls. Tom asks how to use this thing. The system, anticipating this question, grins and says that it will help the guy use this artifact, and hits the protagonist on the head. Tom didn't expect the system to hit him. The guy thinks that the system just took advantage of the opportunity to beat him up, and that it's all just a scam. The system responded that it first had to see if the hero had anything extra in his head. But Tom doesn't understand what might be superfluous in his head. Suddenly, samples of famous performers pop into his memory. The system says that it has given the hero the abilities of several famous singers, and also added a beautiful voice. Tom was happy about the new changes and the opportunity to defeat the arrogant Jack. Hoping to gain even more powerful skills, Tom asks the system to hit him again. Ambiguous phrases are emitted from the room where Tom is located and the system, which makes Jessica and the guard nervous. When the main character leaves the room, his appearance frightens his friends. However, Tom is not at all bothered by his beaten appearance and is confident that he will win no matter what. The protagonist promises that they will see his radiant performance, but the guard and Jessica hardly believe it, seeing his condition. At the same time, Vanessa announces a new guest who will compete in singing with Jack. The people are not happy about the appearance of a new person on stage, because after Jack's singing there will be nothing better. Many decide to leave while the main character is performing. Jack claims that Tom will definitely embarrass himself in front of everyone. The main character comes out on stage. He shines in the spotlight. His singing touches the soul and is a delight to the ears of listeners. No one in the hall expected such beautiful singing from Tom. Those who wanted to leave stayed and continued listening. Jessica was also amazed by the revealed talent of the main character. She admired him again. Tom combined the songs of great performers in his singing, surpassing each of them. The main character's singing is too good. Many even forgot Jack's singing. Tom has fans who adore his voice and charisma, and no one even remembers the god of singing anymore. From behind the scenes, the guy is also supported in every possible way by the security guard and Jessica, who claim that he will defeat Jack, while the artist himself is worried about the upcoming loss. Vanessa tells Jack that it looks like he's lost, a statement that seriously frightens the god of singing. Jack doesn't understand how he could lose to someone like Tom. The guy is angry. He claims to be a singing god, and a mediocrity like Tom can't beat him at what the guy does best. Jack comes on stage, interrupting the main character's performance. He snatches the microphone from the main character and is about to sing again. Jack starts performing a new song. However, no one is impressed by his voice anymore after the performance of the main character. Jack begins to be kicked off the stage to continue listening to Tom's beautiful singing. The singer does not understand how he could lose if he is so handsome and talented. Tom, just like Vanessa, considers the guy a narcissist. Jack is driven away by being pelted with rotten food. The artist falls, and the protagonist comments that the guy is no longer a god of singing. With an obscene gesture, Tom declares Jack's loss, saying that the guy better stay away from Vanessa now, because that was the condition of their bet. Afterwards, the main character thanks the audience for their attention and is about to leave the stage. However, the guy is stopped by the people and asked to sing again, shouting that they will create a new association in honor of Tom, disbanding Jack's association. The singer is angry about his loss and the betrayal of his fans, and that it was not the main character who suffered the shame, but he. Tom starts to leave the stage, but Jack is outraged that Tom can leave after humiliating him. The artist takes Tom and throws him off the stage, declaring that only he can bear the title of God of Song. Tom starts to fall from the high stage. Due to the guy's stupid rage, he can get seriously hurt. Jessica, Vanessa, and the guard are worried about the main character, but they are unlikely to have time to do anything in this situation. Only Jack gloats over the guy, wishing him death. Suddenly, a worried Wendy runs out of the crowd. The girl says she will catch the guy, but Tom asks her to move away. In the worst case, she could get hurt too. But the girl is not going to back down and let her beloved suffer. Tom and Wendy fall together, hitting the floor painfully. The girl, trying to save her beloved, suffered the most. Blood is flowing from her mouth, and Wendy herself is almost unconscious. In a weak voice, the girl says that she listened to the song he sang for a long time. It is really beautiful. After the girl said everything, her hand falls. This scares Tom. He does not want to lose the one he just found. The main character asks the system for help to save the girl from death. The system directs a beam from its eye at the girl to analyze her condition. Jack had hoped that Tom would die after falling off the stage, and was very disappointed by the fact that the guy was still alive. The public, having seen the true cruel nature of their beloved artist, hated him, claiming that a person like Jack had no place on stage. Realizing that the situation is getting heated, the singer decides that he needs to hurry to get away from the angry crowd. However, before Jack can leave the stage, he is hit in the face by a security guard. The guy falls down. He declares that a man has no right to hit an artist like Jack. Jessica and Vanessa appear on the scene and cannot forgive Jack for his vile act. They say that such scum as he cannot exist. While Jack is afraid of what the girls will do and the guard is with him, new people appear behind him. The spectators, having climbed onto the stage, also want justice. They are ready to tear the guy to pieces. The people attack Jack, beating him and threatening him in every possible way. The guy asks only not to touch his face, because he values his pretty face more than anything. Tom asks what's wrong with Wendy. He thinks the girl got hurt because of the collision with him. The system says that a bruise is a normal thing, but the girl has cancer, and this is much more serious. Most likely, she will not live until the morning. Tom didn't expect to hear such an answer from the system. It throws him off track. The guy remembers Wendy's letter and realizes what the girl wrote about. Tom asks the system to exchange anything to save the girl from certain death. But the system says that the protagonist does not have enough points to exchange them for saving Wendy. The system never helped Tom, leaving the hero alone with his problem. The guy doesn't understand when he managed to spend all his points. To which the system lists everything that the guy spent his points on. It says that the hero does not even try to earn money in exchange for points. Tom begs the system to give him at least a chance, but it is adamant, citing the rules. The system disappears, and Tom is left alone with the dying Wendy. A guard, Vanessa and Jessica run into the room and ask about the main character's condition. Everyone tries to help Tom in their own way. Jessica offers to bandage Tom and Wendy's wounds and bruises. Vanessa reports that she has already called an ambulance. The guard dealt with the villain Jack, taking from the guy the most valuable thing for him. But his friend's phrases do not calm Tom down. He begins to blame himself for what happened to Wendy. While Wendy lies peacefully, almost lifelessly, in the protagonist's arms, he reproaches himself for not earning more points to save the girl. Jessica understands that the situation is very serious, and tries to ask Tom about it politely. And Vanessa wonders who the girl is in the protagonist's arms. But Tom does not intend to answer their questions. He demands to call the best doctors immediately, because he cannot allow Wendy to die. Meanwhile, at the alien group's headquarters, a man with a cigarette in his mouth mentions Tom. He claims that this time no one will come to the guy's aid, and he will be dead, just like his beloved. The man gave the order to his subordinates to act, to which they obediently accepted the captain's instructions. Tom thanks Vanessa for the quick help. She really helped the guy. Vanessa sees no problem in helping her friends. She notices that the girl is very dear to the main character, since he cares about her so much. However, the ambulance did not even have time to get out of the carriage when suddenly a man from the alien group appears. Tom, Jessica, Vanessa, and the guard did not expect the villains to appear at such an important moment, which seriously scared the heroes. The man, still smoking a cigar, warms up, preparing for battle. He is glad that he has finally found Tom and will be able to complete his mission. Tom realizes that the man has come to kill him and asks the guard to take Jessica and Vanessa to a safe place. But the man is not going to let Tom go so easily. He orders his subordinates to surround the heroes. The guys in uniform quickly complete the assigned task, and the main character no longer has any escape routes. But it's too early to give up, and the guard stands up for the guy. The man rips off his shirt, showing everyone his big muscles. He claims that he will not let anyone hurt Tom. However, the guard's menacing appearance does not frighten the man from the group of aliens at all. He is sure that they will all die soon. The man didn't have time to finish his threatening phrase before missiles started flying at him. He didn't expect anyone to dare to confront him, especially so openly. The missiles hit their target accurately, destroying the ambulance and the man from the alien group. The heroes managed to dodge the explosive blow, but they also did not expect such an outcome of events. Captain Kick came to the rescue in time, noting the complexity of the situation in which Tom found himself again. Kick asks if the guy needs help. Tom is glad to see his savior. The main character really needs help. He says that a group of aliens has come for him again to kill him. However, Captain Kick was just there to deal with him once and for all. The squad had been preparing for this battle for a very long time, developing new and improved weapons at the Institute. This time, the group of aliens definitely won't leave alive. Tom supports the captain, claiming that he can always be relied on. However, another incident occurs that was not part of Captain Kick's plan. The squad did not prepare for a counterattack, hoping to deal with the group of aliens in one powerful blow. A man appears in the purple fire who should not have survived that explosion. Tom notices the strength of his opponent, and Jessica and the guard are at a loss for words to describe the horror. The man became even more powerful, preparing for a new battle to the death. He recognizes Captain Kick, surprised that he is still alive, but the man is ready to fix this. Tom notices that the two are familiar, but still doesn't know what kind of relationship they might have. Captain Kick has a personal score to settle with the alien group. He smirks that the man is not dead yet, and says that he was embarrassed to be left alone. While the captain's look instills horror. The two groups are about to collide with each other. The male of the alien group makes a caustic comment that Kick is going to kill him with this pile of trash. The man reminds the captain of the past, when all his subordinates and wife died, claiming that he has not yet learned his past lesson. The reminder of that event brings pain to Kiku. He remembers his suffering on the battlefield when hope died with him. The love of his life was dying in the hands of capital, and his dead comrades lay nearby. The death of his loved ones hit the man hard. Now, having gained strength, he is ready to avenge all who died and protect those who are still alive. The alien man's sarcastic jokes don't end there. He asks if Kick is angry. He already thought that he forgot about it. The protagonist notices that this man has really angered the captain. Kick gives the order to advance. This time he does not intend to simply let the group of aliens go. Kick's squad is ready to go into battle to avenge all who are no longer here. A group of aliens are also ready to attack. The commander orders to kill everyone. Kick's squad strikes first, smashing the group with his superarm. With a purple magic chain that strikes the target with lightning, another of Kika's subordinates captures the enemies, not giving them a chance to escape. The advantages of Kika's group do not end there. The man takes out a huge gun, which burns the group of aliens. The advantage is still on Captain Kick's side. They intend to win for sure this time. However, Kick notices that something is wrong. Everything cannot go so smoothly, especially with such an insidious organization as a group of aliens that knows nothing about fair fight and justice. The commander of the alien group emerges from the explosion absolutely calmly. Captain Kick was confused by his calmness. All this time, the man collected information about the Kick group in his bracelet. The bracelet installs abilities that will help you defeat your opponents with ease. When the device had completed all its functions, the man became invincible. Tom notices that the bracelet the man was using is the same as the one the woman he had to fight earlier. The man claims that he has figured out all of Kick's tricks. Now the alien group is ready to strike back. However, Kick's team does not intend to give up and is ready to attack again. They use a variety of techniques: a super strong mechanical arm, a 1,000,000-volt chain lightning, a maximum power ion cannon. All of these techniques are aimed at the alien man, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by the opponent's techniques at all. He notices that they want to knock him out with this one toy. The man reflects all the intentions of his opponents with a light shield. The squad didn't expect that their strong abilities could be so easily repelled. Seeing the confusion of his opponents, the man calls them a bunch of trash. Kick notices how easily the enemy dealt with them and gives the order to retreat due to the high danger. But the man says it's too late to back out now. A huge purple fist is already heading towards Kick's allies. A huge explosion occurs, which should destroy everything in its path. Tom is barely affected by this explosion because the guy is not on the battlefield. The squad is scattered in different directions by the powerful explosive blow from Captain Kick. The captain, seeing the state of his group, worries about each of its members. Kick doesn't want to lose his allies again. He runs straight towards them, hoping to help somehow. But the guy to whom the capital ran only manages to apologize. He loses consciousness. Tears well up in Kick's eyes. The pain of losing his allies again is unbearable for him. But the man has no intention of giving up. He wants revenge and grips his weapon tighter. The man runs towards the enemy in tears. A missile fires from Kick's weapon and flies straight towards the alien man. But this doesn't scare him at all. He calls Kick an idiot because he dared to attack him. The man, having stopped the blow, fires his weapon again, which frightens the captain. Tom is also amazed that the man stopped the rocket with his bare hands. Kick can't believe that such a blow didn't even hit the man. It's just impossible. He squeezed the rocket in his hand, causing an explosion that sent Captain Kick flying. After the transformation, the man became much stronger. For him, killing heroes is as easy as swatting ants. This statement makes Kick even more nervous. He worries not only for himself, but also for those who are still alive. The main character notices that the man is too strong. He is different from the woman who was pursuing him. If this continues, then Tom is finished. Grabbing a knife, Kick orders Tom to run to save himself. The man runs towards the enemy again, hoping to win, or at least save Tom. The main character does not want to just run away, condemning Kick to death. With a knife, the captain doesn't even have a chance to fight a man. Gathering his strength into a fist, the man from the alien group prepares to deliver a killing blow to the enemy. The blow lands right in Kiku's stomach, knocking the knife out of his hands. The captain flies away, hitting the asphalt painfully, while Tom asks the system to at least come up with something in this situation. The system detects a threat and begins activating the protection package. The protagonist hurries her, otherwise they might not have time to protect the captain. But the system asks Tom not to worry because it already has almost everything ready. A fiery shield appears in front of the main character, capable of saving him from any blow. Captain Kick is having a hard time. The blow was strong and blood is flowing from his mouth. The alien man is about to finish off the captain, delivering the final, decisive blow. However, Tom is already rushing to help Kiku with a shield. He throws the defense straight to the captain. This action shocks the system, because this shield was intended to protect the main character. The captain catches the shield. Now he has a chance to survive in this unequal battle. But the man does not consider Kick's shield a worthy defense. This does not stop him from finishing off the man. In this situation, the captain can only trust Tom. Only he can save him. Only a shield separates Kick and the man. But will it be able to protect the captain? An explosion occurs at the place where the heroes were. Tom hopes that the shield will be able to save Captain Kick from death. Bella sees this explosion. The girl warned Tom about the danger of an attack. The girl notices that the beam of light is another team. The blonde guy next to her asks if Bella is going to take a closer look. The girl asks to bring two newcomers whose abilities may be useful. These newbies are extremely excited that their abilities can be useful. This is their first mission. They can finally show themselves to Tom. However, Bella interrupts their conversation, warning them that they are forbidden to show their abilities to ordinary people, or harm them. The girl's threat that disobedience will result in reprisals frightens the boys. Bella and her assistants move to the battlefield. The coordinates have been entered and are ready to be transmitted. The team teleports to the location of the conflict. The man's blow was stopped by something, which confused him greatly. The current situation also shocked Captain Kick. The shield formed a cushion that caught the man's hand, stopping the blow in midair. Tom asks the system what kind of shield it gave him. The shield won't let go of the man's hand. Kick says that he won't stop him anyway. The system explains that the shield is called the Abyss. It is able to absorb all attacks and is one of the most valuable things the system has. Tom concludes that the man is now trapped and cannot use his powers. The system agrees with the protagonist, saying that the guy has an advantage now. The main character picks up a brick and runs towards the defenseless man. Finally, the hour of reckoning has come, and the man will pay for everyone he killed. Tom turns into a devil who knows no mercy. The guy starts beating the man with a brick, hitting him right in the face. Afterwards, the main character kicks him in the stomach. Tom punches the man in the face, causing drops of blood to fly out of the man's mouth from the force of the blow. At the end of his revenge, the guy hits him between the legs. Bella and her subordinates emerge from the portal that transported them to the desired location. The girl's assistant tells them to be careful. They are in the thick of trouble, and one of them is the group's best killer. Bella is already ready for battle, but it will be difficult to win because they are at different levels of training. The girl's subordinates notice Tom in this fight. Bella doesn't believe that the main character could be involved in such a dangerous situation. It's impossible. The girl doesn't believe that Tom could defeat a killer, especially one of that level. Tom presses his foot on the man's head and begins to take revenge for all his deeds. The guy takes the alien bracelet, which is capable of doing such powerful and terrifying things. But Tom claims that such a thing does not impress him. Bella, finally seeing Tom, is surprised. She doesn't understand how the guy went from being a weakling to being so strong. The girl's assistants are amazed by the strength of the main character. They conclude that they need to follow the guy to become just as cool and to achieve a good future. The boys run to Tom to help him, claiming that their abilities have finally awakened too, and they will be able to be of use to him. Bella's blonde assistant tells her that their interns just joined another organization and betrayed them. The girl replies that she knew it would happen like this. She suggests letting the guys go, since their abilities aren't that strong. But the guy replies that this could undermine the organization's reputation. Bella says that if he refuses, then he should fight Tom, who just killed man number 9, to restore the organization's reputation. The guy just laughs at the girl's comment, joking that it would be easier to get rid of those two. Tom approaches Bella, asking if the girl still thinks he is weak. The main character brags to everyone that he even sent the killer of this group to the trash. But Bella is not about to admire Tom, and briefly thanks him, saying that they will take the man back to prison. The main character hoped to receive a reward for his heroism. A simple thank you will not satisfy him. Captain Kick doesn't let the girl take the man from the alien group, because he killed so many of his comrades and relatives, and to let the man get away with all this is simply outrageous. But the girl explains that it was Tom who caught him, not the captain, and he has no right to demand anything. The captain throws a badge right in Tom's face, which identifies the protagonist as a member of Kick's special forces. Tom looks at the badge, not understanding why they are trying to drag him into something again. Kick tells Bella that at this moment in time, the guy is the leader of their special forces unit. But Bella invites Tom to join their organization of the Six-Pointed Star, because with their reputation, no one will dare to attack the main character anymore. Holding the badges of two organizations, Tom considers two tempting offers. Both leaders of two strong squads are trying to persuade the hero to their side, trying to achieve their own goals by doing so. Bella's subordinates admire and envy Tom's popularity, concluding that they will never achieve the same. A man who was recently beaten, and they tried to decide what to do with him, reminds us of his existence. He says they can be destroyed but not caught. Bella realizes that the man is going to blow himself up to avoid being taken away. Kick quickly runs away from the man, and the girl pounces on Tom to protect him with her body. A man blows himself up with one movement of his hand. A huge hole forms in the place where the man lay after the explosion. Bella, still on Tom, notices that the explosion from this bomb was very close and very strong. Tom also says that the bomb was indeed very big, but the guy is actually talking about Bella's chest, which is right in front of his eyes. The girl, understanding what the guy is talking about, calls him an idiot. She gives Tom one last blow and walks away, because her mission here has already been accomplished, and the girl has no reason to stay here any longer. But the main character stops the girl, wanting to say something else. He asks the girl for one favor. Bella stops, deciding to listen to what the protagonist has to say. Tom, after all the incidents that happened earlier, finds himself back at his estate, thinking about a new plan of action in the current situation. The main character, sitting on the sofa, was deeply thinking about something. Tom thought about what Bella said before leaving. The girl said that they would be able to freeze Wendy's condition only for a few days, during which time the guy should sort out all his problems. Realizing that he only has 10 days, Tom is very determined. He cannot give up at such a responsible and important moment. He calls the system to ask what drugs might help Wendy. The system shows the protagonist a whole list of suitable drugs, but none of them cost less than 10,000 points. These prices shock the main character, but the system does not understand Tom's indignation, because these drugs are capable of resurrecting the dead, and such a price for such a thing is still cheap. The guy doesn't understand how he can earn such a huge amount of money in such a short period of time. Suddenly, the main character receives a call from an unknown number. Tom answers the call, asking for the identity of the person he is talking to. The girl on the other line introduces herself as Julia. She is the largest shareholder of the company, and wants to meet the main character. The personality of the interlocutor makes Tom nervous. He asks again about the girl's status he heard. Without waiting for an answer, the guy asks her when it would be convenient to meet. Maybe thanks to her he can earn more money. Julia sets a meeting for the next morning in the company's boardroom. The man behind her asks about the advisability of meeting the guy, but the girl is confident in her decision and declares that as long as the guy is with them, the company will not fall into the wrong hands. Julia will never let these bastards win, no matter what price she has to pay for it. The next day, Tom and Bella's assistants go to meet with a mysterious shareholder whom the guy has never seen before. The guy next to the main character admires that Tom has such a large company. From the meeting room, someone can be heard shouting that he will never hand over the company to them and that they better get out. Tom notices that there seems to be some kind of quarrel going on in the hall. Entering the office, the main character sees 4 people already furiously discussing something. The older man states that, apart from Julia and Tom, he is the only one who owns the rest of the company's capital. Tomorrow the man will hold a general meeting of shareholders and re-elect the chairman. This statement shocks the girl and her assistant. She cannot allow such events to happen. The protagonist intervenes in their argument, saying that he came here to meet Julia. The girl was surprised by Tom's appearance, and a fat elderly man named Ethan said that the guy had arrived on time. The main character was bombarded with accusations from the man that the guy had put his brother in prison. While Tom doesn't understand what's going on, a bald man, who is in the hall with everyone else, is already running towards him on Ethan's orders. Swinging at the main character, he wishes him to go to hell as soon as possible. Tom, seeing that the blow is accompanied by fire, assumes that the man has some kind of ability. Julia shouts at the men to stop their squabbles and not resort to violence. The girl's assistant notes that this is the end, and the situation has already crossed all boundaries of normality. An elderly man accuses Tom of insulting his family. Tom does not feel any fear. The guy begins to activate the bracelet's super ability. His hand is instantly filled with energy that will help him win the next battle. The main character is ready to defend and attack, because he feels his superiority very well. The blow is about to happen, and their fists will meet. Tom's strength is significantly greater than that of the bald man. The guy's blow was so strong that the man flew into the wall, destroying everything in his path. The guys who came with Tom admire the main character's strength, wishing him to keep up the good work. The man who was running for the chairman's position did not expect that anyone could defeat his assistant, since he had superpowers. Julia and her assistant are also amazed by Tom and his strength. The main character, looking at his new gadget, is glad that it works, but its energy may only last for a few times. Ethan doesn't want to admit his loss and shouts after the guy that sooner or later he will take over this company. However, Tom does not take the man's threats seriously and orders his new assistants to capture them, to which they are only too happy to serve their idol. It was not for nothing that the guys had previously been subordinate to Bella. They really do scare those around them with their strength and are already ready to deal with Tom's offenders. The red-haired guy is the first to show his superpowers. He has the ability to overheat the enemy's body. The man is no longer as confident as he was when he attacked Tom. He is all on fire, having experienced the guy's ability on himself. Realizing his state of health, he begins to experience a wild heat, which brings him great discomfort. The man begins to undress, trying to somehow cool himself down. Julia, seeing how Ethan is already starting to take off his pants, quickly closes her eyes, calling him a pervert. He remains completely naked, still feeling an irresistible heat. And the guys, watching everything, laugh at his ridiculous figure and small dignity. The blue-haired guy states that it is now his turn to use his power, the ventilation technique. The man, still naked and in the fetal position, passes gas. The main character didn't even imagine that the guy would have such an ability. Tom hits his assistant, complaining about the bad smell. And his friend says that this ability is almost a biological weapon. Ethan, feeling great shame, orders everyone to get out, while all the employees in the room suffer from the unbearable smell emanating from the man. He finally shouts that the main character won't get away with this so easily. Tom, leaning out of the window and trying to catch his breath from the sharp and unpleasant smell, tells his assistant to use his ability less often because of its strength. The guy admits that this is the first time he has used his ability, and that he will be more careful next time. Julia thanks Tom for his help. He helped the girl a lot. The main character, finally catching his breath, says that there is no need for thanks, and asks where this man came from and what happened between them. The girl, looking down, admits that the company is currently going through a crisis. Suddenly, a system appears in front of Tom, informing him that a new mission has appeared to save Julia. The opportunity to earn points makes the guy happy, because it means he will be able to save Wendy. Tom reaches for the letter to accept the new mission. However, the system warns the hero that the mission is very large and includes many tasks. If the protagonist fails to complete this mission, the punishment will be severe. The mention of punishment makes the hero tremble with fear. But the guy pulls himself together because he needs to earn points and save Wendy, who now needs his help more than ever. Tom snatches the mission letter from the system, declaring that he is ready to make any sacrifice for the girl. The letter contained a huge list of tasks that Tom had to complete. The tasks were grouped into 4 main subgroups: get out of financial difficulties, get shares and find the culprits, win Julia's heart, and have children with her. The penalty for failing to complete the mission was simply enormous, which shocked the protagonist. The system explains that the greater the reward, the greater the penalty for failure to complete. And in any case, the guy has already taken the task and has nowhere to go. Seeing no other way out, Tom heads back to the boardroom to discuss the reasons for the company's crisis with Julia. The girl explains that their company specializes in cosmetics, and the whitening tablets, which they spent a lot of money on developing, were stolen and patented by other people, which is what led to the company going bankrupt. Julia claims that the company won't last even a week. Her optimism doesn't please the main character at all. Tom needs to earn $1 billion in just 3 days, a situation that drives the main character into despair. The girl's assistant states that Jacob, who stole their secrets, was fast, as if he knew all their secrets. Remembering what Julia said about the whitening tablets, something comes to mind. The guy asks the system if it has a powerful form for whitening, the cheaper the better. The system, digging through its archives, finds powder for only 50 points. This message encourages Tom. He says that this is what he needs. Julia claims that she will never hand over the company to Jacob, and if there is no other way, she will prepare a bankruptcy plan. However, the main character is not going to give up. A plan has already matured in his head. The announcement that the guy might have a plan shocks Julia and her assistant, giving them the hope they've been waiting for. Tom says that he needs their help to carry out the plan. This time, the guy is going to put on a big show, and 50 points is not such a big price for it. But the guy will have to pretend to be a nobody again. A fat old man reports to his boss that their plan was almost completed. But suddenly Tom appeared and ruined everything. The boss claims that Tom's name sounds familiar to him. Ethan angrily explains that this guy provoked his older brother and sent him to prison. The main character is not so simple. It will be difficult to deal with him, because he defeated number 6 and 9 from the alien group. This time, Jacob's boss's goal is not to kill Tom, but to take over the company and raise funds for the organization. The overweight man is surprised that his boss's main target is not the protagonist. The man claims that Tom will be easy to deal with. Now they need to deal with his surroundings. People have already gathered for Jacob's press conference to introduce the bleaching powder. The journalists were clearly not happy about this meeting. They were expecting a sensation, not the usual presentation of powder. But the guy reassures his neighbor that after the conference, there will be a red envelope with a reward, and he only needs to take a couple of photos and write something at the end. Ethan claims that they will be the first to bring this powder to market and will get all the glory. Under such circumstances, Tom and Julia's company will definitely come to an end, and along with it, the main character himself. The man's assistant informs him that all TV channels will broadcast their product during prime time. This news filled him with determination, and he was ready to perform. The man began his speech by explaining a new product developed by a Korean company. The main advantage of the powder is that it can whiten the skin. The crowd began to whisper, discussing such an interesting product. The man is angry that reporters are not filming anything at this moment and says that at the end of the conference, they should cut the number of red envelopes in half. His assistant interrupts the man's thoughts, drawing his attention upward. An advertisement with Tom's face for a new bleaching powder is already flying in the sky on an airship. Tom announces that he is giving away money to support the company and asks to accept this gift in the form of new powder. Money fell from the sky, with which people were supposed to buy their new product. The man does not understand why Tom is doing this, because it is extremely unprofitable to throw money around. The journalists were instantly awakened, finding Tom's commercial more entertaining than Jacob and Ethan's boring conference. They began to quickly leave the event in hopes of gathering more compelling information for an article and earning more than they could have earned at the conference. The fat man did not expect that something like this could happen at his own event. The main character's advertising is everywhere. In the US, the guy guarantees that this powder will take them to Europe. The video with Tom is located in Paris, on the Eiffel Tower itself. The main character even managed to make an advertisement on a pyramid in Egypt. In space, a satellite transmits Tom's speech about how using the powder helped him get rid of pain in his lower back and legs, and it will help customers too. There was no place where Tom did not leave his mark. His face was everywhere, advertising the new product. The main character's assistants are simply shocked by how much money was invested in promoting the new powder. But Tom doesn't seem to be bothered by this at all. On the contrary, he is extremely pleased with himself and his plan. Julia's assistant had hoped that Tom would be able to do at least something, but now he was completely disappointed in the hero's plan. Julia doesn't understand what all this advertising is about, because they don't have this bleaching powder that Tom talks about at every turn. However, Tom shows the girl a folded piece of paper. The main character says that the formula for the new bleaching powder is in this package. This statement shocks everyone present around Tom. However, the guy himself is completely calm, inviting everyone to go to the cosmetic development and research department to show how to use this powder. Julia and her assistant discuss how the protagonist's plan might work and what it might lead to. Tom, checking the characteristics of the powder in the system, comes to the conclusion that everything should definitely work out, and the system convinces him of the quality of its goods and services. Julia's cosmetics laboratory is in full swing, working and experimenting with new products. The girl working in the lab claims that all their products are not good enough, like stolen bleaching powder. Dr. Sam next to him sighs and says that it's too late to talk about it now. While the man goes into his office, colleagues discuss the importance of this project for the doctor himself. Sam didn't actually look as depressed as his colleagues saw him. They didn't even imagine that the doctor himself had actually leaked the powder recipe for profit, and was ready to leak other new company recipes. Before Sam had time to open the door and walk out of it, the main character appeared right in front of him. His appearance frightened the doctor. Tom, passing inside, recognized Dr. Sam, but the doctor himself was extremely unhappy about their meeting. Julia quickly introduces the company's second shareholder, Tom, to Dr. Sam, who developed their unique product. Sam immediately put on a friendly mask, claiming that the company was going through hard times and that Tom was their only savior. The fact that the formula of the powder that Tom presented could be superior to his own somehow frightens the doctor, because otherwise he might not get his money. Even the expression on Tom's face frightened the man. Upon hearing the information that Tom had a formula for a new powder, the company's researcher noticeably perked up. The protagonist confirms this information by showing a piece of paper on which the formula was supposed to be written. The rest of the employees were also happy about the new hope for saving the company. However, Dr. Sam is not eager to please. He is skeptical about Tom's idea, claiming that they, a group of professionals, have not found a better formula than the one that was. Sam's colleagues, having heard the doctor's logical conjectures, also began to doubt Tom's formula. In addition, Dr. Sam was categorically against the protagonist using their ingredients for the dubious new powder. Based on his experience and authority, Sam was almost certain that he could defeat the guy and remain unpunished. Tom's assistants, hearing such injustice towards the guy, began to swear at the man, because the main character helps them only out of the kindness of his heart. But the doctor is still unshakable, because he is sure that he is right and asks the guys who stood up for Tom to shut up. The protagonist began to suspect that Sam might be involved in something, otherwise it would not be beneficial for him to oppose Tom. The guy states that as the second shareholder, he has the right to mobilize the necessary ingredients, and Julia confirms his capabilities. Approaching Sam's doctor again, the boy gave the order to make new bleaching powders according to his recipe. Tom's impudence and persistence amaze and anger the man. He thought that he could easily influence his employees, and especially the main character. Tom senses the man's dissatisfaction and decides to make fun of him, because the doctor has no right to resist the orders of his superiors. Julia's assistant also doubts the main character's recipe, and asks the girl if the guy can really be trusted. But the girl seems completely calm and is definitely ready to trust Tom. Anger and hatred towards the main character overwhelms Dr. Sam, and he demands to show him the piece of paper with the new formula written down to make sure the new powder is effective. However, before the doctor can reach the piece of paper, the guy quickly pulls his hand away, preventing the man from taking the formula. Tom, with an evil grin on his face, claims that he doesn't trust the man and isn't ready to give him the sheet of paper with the formula just like that. With a friendly smile, he hands the piece of paper to the girl who was standing nearby. Dr. Sam begins to hate the main character even more, and decides not to let the guy win under any circumstances. Tom watches with satisfaction as the lab staff work on a new formula for bleaching powder. The protagonist asks the system to help him copy information from Dr. Sam's phone, because this man is definitely involved in something and seems suspicious. These were the protagonist's last points, and he spent them to find out information about the alleged criminal who leaked information about the powder. In the cream jar there is a new product that was invented according to Tom's recipe. The new product smells unbearably and looks just as unpleasant. Tom didn't expect the formula the system gave him to be so nasty, which is why it was so cheap. Tom's assistants also smell the foul odor, one of them claiming that it smells worse than his ability. Other employees believe that there is absolutely no point in producing this product, especially considering that it smells like stinking sludge from a sewer. Dr. Sam, seeing the failure of the protagonist, cannot help but gloat over him, claiming that Tom's formula was not even close to his. The protagonist offers to bet 10 million that his remedy is much better than Dr. Sam's powder. The man is confident of his victory, so he gladly accepts the bet. The company employees don't understand why the guy is going to argue with Sam, because he has absolutely no chance with his stinking product. Tom extends his hand to the beautiful Julia, inviting the girl to become his model in this dispute. Julia's assistant warns her that this is a bad idea, and that she could disfigure herself with this remedy. But the girl looks at Tom with love and accepts his proposal. The guy says that only a beauty like Julia can be the first to use this remedy. Dr. Sam is angry that Julia and Tom are stalling and demands that the competition begin quickly. Sam, applying the powder to the girl's hand, explains that his remedy can be taken both internally and externally by rubbing, and the result will be visible in a week. Tom claims that the results of his product will be noticeable immediately. This statement and the guy's confidence make Sam very angry. The employees whisper that no matter how strong the drug is, it cannot work instantly, and the main character is just lying and bragging. He does not deserve to be the second shareholder of the company, in their opinion. 1 minute has already passed, and Tom says that it is time to remove the products from Julia's hands to compare the effects. The girl who made the stinking clay for Tom begins to wash off Dr. Sam's remedy first. The result is visible immediately. The place where the powder was applied has noticeably lightened. Julia can't deny that the effects of Sam's pill are working well. The doctor knows very well that he has the upper hand over Tom, because they have spent a lot of time and effort developing this formula. And when the powder is finally launched, it will take up a large share of the market. The guys understand that the main character will inevitably lose, and it is better for him to simply admit defeat so as not to lose face. What a pity that the formula of their cream was stolen. It was their best development. However, Tom's remedy was next, which was applied to the other hand. Julia offers the guy to surrender. She will pay 10 million for his kindness to cover the debt to Dr. Sam. Tom thanks the girl for her support, But he is not going to give up. On the contrary, he is confident of his victory. The guy starts to wipe off the product applied to the girl's hand. The place where the clay was applied glows. Julia is amazed by this, and Tom expected such an outcome. The people nearby are blinded by the light. They are surprised that the guy's remedy had such a shocking effect. Tom understands perfectly well that he has won a victory and is already ready to taste it. He hugs the girl, showing everyone her glowing hand, while advertising his product. The remedy will rid everyone who uses it of any imperfections and make them goddesses. Julia is delighted with the new product, as it is even more powerful than whitening pills. The assistant girl, who was always skeptical about Tom and his ideas, also cannot contain her delight. The guys who accompanied Tom always knew that he would win, and were sincerely happy for him. Dr. Sam is completely confused. He does not believe that a recipe that came out of nowhere can be better than one that was developed by an entire team over many days. Employees who were previously disappointed in the guy now admire him and call him a savior. Sam, realizing that he has lost, let his boss down, and is jeopardizing the release and popularity of the lightning powder, decides to tell Jacob about everything. A man sends a message to his boss that Tom has invented a more powerful remedy than whitening pills. The doctor's hand, in which he was holding the phone, is suddenly grabbed. Sam was caught off guard. The protagonist accuses the man of leaking all the information to Jacob. Julia and her assistant are completely confused. They did not expect such betrayal from the doctor. Tom shows proof in the form of correspondence between Sam and Jacob, conveying all the information. The puzzle of Dr. Sam's betrayal is finally being assembled. The man in the company of Ethan and the girls of Easy Virtue laughed and discussed their plans. They were both company traders who worked for Jacob and his company. Tom solved the case by providing everyone with solid evidence. The doctor's colleagues are disappointed and very angry at the man who betrayed them. They are angry with Sam's actions. He sold all their work. They are ready to beat the doctor for his actions for the sake of the place, while the man tries to repent and apologize. Dr. Sam has been badly beaten and is lying right at Tom's feet. The protagonist decides to give the doctor another chance out of the kindness of his heart. To atone for his guilt before the company, the man had to tell who was behind Jacob. Admiring Tom's kindness, Sam agrees to everything and tells him that Jacob once mentioned a man, calling him number 3. Hearing who was behind all this, the protagonist's face twisted in disgust. He realized that a group of aliens was involved in the incident again. The guy is angry that they are constantly interfering in everything, and he has to deal with everything over and over again. Dr. Sam says he has told all he knows and begs Tom to forgive him and let him go. But Julia suddenly intervenes in the conversation. The girl orders to seize the man and hand him over to the police station. 2 men grab the doctor by the arms to take him away and put him in prison with his brother. Sam didn't expect this, because the main character promised to save him if he told him everything he knew. Tom said he promised he would let him go, but he didn't mention that Julia would do the same. The doctor, realizing that he has been deceived, is very angry at Tom, Julia, and company. The main character receives a message from the system that he has completed the task, and receives a reward of 666 points. Tom is happy, and says that now they can prepare well. Julia approaches Tom to thank him for helping her find the rat in the company, and the girl waits for the guy's next instructions. The main character's further plans include holding a press conference. Tom wants to make the whitening product the best-selling product in the world. Julia falls in love with the main character, thinking that only a man like him is worthy of her. The press conference is held in a tall glass building, on which hangs an announcement about the event and the company's new product. Journalists discuss the latest events. First, Jacob's company presented their whitening pills, and now Julia and Tom's company has released a whitening product. One of the men in the audience doesn't understand what the two companies are playing at, to which the other responds that Jacob's whitening pills originally belonged to Julia's company. Jacob stole the recipe for the whitening pills from Julia, and they had to quickly develop a new whitening clay, spending a lot of resources on advertising it. Julia, in a beautiful dress, announces that today at this press conference they are presenting their new product. The girl dares to say that their whitening clay will become a breakthrough in the beauty industry. However, a certain man, smirking, claims that it is too early for them to say such things. This man turns out to be Jacob, next to whom stands the insidious Ethan, who previously wanted to take over Julia and Tom's company. However, Tom, Julia, and her assistant seem to be expecting the two to appear. Journalists are already waiting for a drama to make a sensation out of it and earn a lot of money. One of them has already come up with a title, Shocking in Broad Daylight. The leaders of the two main groups used women's products to fight. Julia's assistant thinks that the people who came are not very nice people. The girl knew that these two would cause them problems. However, the main character is full of confidence. Standing up for Julia and the man, he says that they all have absolutely nothing to fear. However, hatred for what is happening overwhelms the main character. A group of aliens sent a killer after the guy twice, which caused him a lot of trouble. But this time, he intends to fight and turn everything against them. Security quickly chases all reporters away from the stage, so that they don't create any more problems. Jacob insists that he won't tremble over Tom, and demands that the guy cancel the press conference and give them the secret recipe. Julia is very angry at the impudence of her rival. How dare he demand such things? He had already robbed them once and did not dare to do it again, especially so openly. Tom reassures Julia and asks Jacob what gives him so much confidence to say such things. The man with a sly smile says that the answer is in the protagonist's phone, and he can look at it if he dares. This statement makes the guy nervous, and he immediately reaches for his smartphone. Jacob sent Tom a photo of Jessica and Vanessa tied up at gunpoint. This photo scares and angers the protagonist. He asks what Jacob did with them. The man claims that the girls are safe now. But if Tom does not give them the recipe for the remedy, everything may change for the worse. Ethan, next to Jacob, states that the protagonist must make a decision by the end of the day. Jessica says she will call the police immediately, and her assistant curses the man because he is breaking the law. However, these two only laugh at such statements, claiming that they are not afraid of the police, and when they arrive, they will only find 2 corpses of girls. The main character expected such a trick from his enemies, but this time he underestimated their cunning. He says that a man can kill girls if he wants. Jacob didn't think the guy would say something like that. He hoped to quickly deal with him with this statement. But the main character turned out to be not so simple. Such a ruthless statement shocks everyone. They did not expect to hear such words from the main character. Jacob says that these are Tom's women and he will watch them die. The main character just shrugs, claiming that he doesn't care at all what happens to them. Jessica didn't think that the guy would be so indifferent, and now doubts that the guy can be a good match for her. Jacob accepts Tom's challenge and gives the order for the girls to be killed immediately. However, suddenly the telephone conversation in which the man was giving orders is interrupted. Jacob calls back the same number and shouts into the phone for his subordinates to kill those girls immediately. But the man is answered by another voice, claiming that they killed all of his assistants. Captain Kick and his staff immediately arrived at the scene where the tied-up girls were, and quickly sorted everything out. Kick relays a message through Jacob to Tom that they had sorted everything out. Jacob did not foresee this state of affairs. He does not know at all what to do now, because the man is now in a completely disadvantageous position. His phone suddenly falls and breaks from all the shock Jacob has experienced. The man's face twisted with hatred, as the main character could have predicted his plan. Tom replies that he foresaw that Jacob might do something like this, and therefore asked Captain Kick to set up an ambush in advance and wait for the right moment to attack. Jessica and Vanessa had some self-defense items that the guy traded for the system's glasses to keep them safe. Julia immediately forgives Tom, saying that she knew he was a good person, and her assistant also admits that he was wrong. Tom claims that he didn't tell them anything because everything had to be kept secret. Jacob realizes that he has lost and falls from an excess of emotions. He insults the guy. The protagonist states that times have changed, and instead of waiting for an attack on himself, he decided to act in advance, anticipating all the plans of his opponents. Tom, feeling the advantage in the situation, tells the guard to close the door. The door slams suddenly and loudly. People appear on the threshold and quickly go inside. A black security guard arrived at the scene along with some menacing men like him. The man says his weapon is already hungry. Tom is next to the military man, looming over Jacob and his follower as they plead for mercy, citing the law, and the fat man promises to give up all his shares. People who were thrown out of the press conference listen to what is happening inside the hall, assuming that there may be a showdown there. Jacob and Ethan express remorse after being beaten. Tom asks for an answer, and if the man tries to lie, he will allow him to die and live at the same time. After all the torture, Jacob is ready to say anything, just to avoid repeating everything that happened before. The main character is surprised at how easily the man gave in. Is it really possible that the group of aliens has people under their command who are afraid of death? The guy sits down on the chair, taking a confident and relaxed pose. He asks Jacob where their boss's lair is, who his boss is, and how many they have. The man, frightened and humble, replies that the old lair is located under a mountain with tens of thousands of members inside, and the man does not know the identity of his boss, because he is very mysterious, but his codename is Zero. The system appears next to the main character, saying that everything the man said is true. The guy gets up from his chair, coming up with a new plan of action. Tom orders his subordinates to remove Jacob and his assistant, and states that when they are ready, they will attack the main lair of the alien group. After the main character has given the order, he turns to Julia to say something to the girl. The guy tells the girl that after the man gives up his shares and they put their new product on sale, the crisis in the company will end. Jessica is very grateful to Tom for his help. He really saved the girl from such events as the crisis. The protagonist replies that this is what he had to do, and the girl should not thank him. Julia kisses the guy as a sign of appreciation and gratitude. Tom didn't expect the girl to kiss him, and was very embarrassed. Julia explained her action by saying that she had promised herself that whoever helped her with the company would do whatever he wanted. Tom receives a message from the system that his task is completed, and the guy is very happy with this and Julia's kiss, and the girl runs away from him embarrassedly. Tom assumes that his charm is too strong to resist, and the system congratulates the guy on acquiring the company's shares, and Julia's heart, the main character's reward, is 20,000 points. Tom was even more delighted to hear about such a large number of points, with which he would be able to cure Wendy. The guy demands that the system immediately send him to the girl, and the system fulfills his demand. Several months have passed since the recent events, and the head of the Central Department of the Alien Group is watching a report on how the protagonist once again allowed their plans by blowing up buildings. The chief's assistant reports that their bases around the world have been attacked by Tom and his accomplices recently, and the alien group has suffered serious losses. This whole situation makes the chief very angry, and he slams his fist on the table. The man orders them to leave all their affairs and direct all their efforts to finding and neutralizing Tom. For this purpose, he is even ready to vacate X's rooms. The girl understood the boss's order and quickly runs to report his decision to the others. However, the girl did not have time to leave the central department. Deafening sounds were heard from behind the doors. It seemed like someone wanted to break into them. The main character bursts into the department with his friends. They are ready to destroy this base. The hero is portrayed as an Avenger. The guard is portrayed as a blue giant. Jessica as a white widow. Vanessa as a dragon captain. Wendy as a lightning goddess. Julia looks like a wonderful doctor, and the main character was a titan, which matches his determination and strength. The main villain is angry, claiming that the heroes are pressuring him and also almost violating copyright. Tom gives a heroic speech about how the head of the organization killed innocents, and therefore deserves to die. However, the villain only grins, claiming that there are 10 tons of explosives in this room. If the protagonist wants to be his, then they will have to die together. The man reaches for the red button to blow up this building. But the heroes are already ready to attack the man to destroy his insidious plans. Tom says that the villain should not waste his energy in vain, and all the traps that he set have already been eliminated. A group of Avengers are already ready to destroy the villain, and he is already begging for forgiveness. The heroes begin to beat up the leader of the alien group for all their evil deeds. At the end of the battle, an explosion occurs, and the villain says that he will return. A warm island in the middle of a blue and endless ocean greets the heroes, giving them peace after all the hardships. Tom enjoys the company of his beloved girls, who are also happy to be with him on this island. A little boy sat playing in the sand. He was a copy of Tom. The boy said that his parents were very lazy and did not want to play with him. Suddenly, a system window appears next to the boy, informing him that the owner has been selected and the system is being linked to him. A system appears next to Tom's son, saying that he has been chosen by the super money system. The boy, seeing that he finally had a friend in the form of a system, was very happy, because unforgettable adventures awaited them in the future.